Tonight on the Black Channel. We're going to be having a program here tonight, and in advance, we're going to be touching on a number of different things. But tonight's program is a message to our fellow soldiers. And situations like this, of course, you never want to have happen, but you have to deal with them. And we've had plenty of people who showed us the way to deal with that. It's simply our turn to do so. For those of you who are not aware, earlier this week, I had gotten word that our brother, Black Voltron, had passed. It was sudden, and there was no warning or indication of it. He's survived by his mother and his daughter. We've been hearing about his daughter now for years and years. And, this internet thing, in many ways, it's changed things, but in many ways, it's the same. It's just giving you a larger pool of people, really, in my opinion, to get acquainted with, to see their character, to see their personalities. And I think I speak for everyone when I say that Black Voltron was the epitome of uncompromising. No matter what was happening, no matter where it was occurring, no matter how it was occurring, he was one of those people that exactly what he would say. No matter what the situation was, he's one of those people that exactly what he would say. And it is that type of integrity that is the reason that he stood out to all of us and that all of us remember him now. I would like to take tonight's program as an opportunity to review some things. I'd like to review not just some events, but I'd like to review some culture. I would like to review some culture in the context of our brother. I'm going to refer to him as Black Voltron. Of course, I know his name. Of course, I know the other name. Of course, I do. But I want to explain something to you. You see, there's personality in the name. And the internet, once again, has transformed the way in which people do things, because your name that you all are walking around with on your birth certificates, that was not chosen by you. That was not chosen by you. That was chosen by somebody else. No matter how much you may love them or whatever, that was not your decision. That was their decision. But when you come here, whatever we see here, that was your decision. So in many ways, I think that is more pertinent because those are decisions and choices that you made. When Snoop Dogg dies one day, the world's not going to refer to him as Calvin Brodus. They're going to say Snoop Dogg. That's what they're going to say. And I can go down any list of number of other people there. That is the name in which that's the name in which you chose. That is the name in which you went into the world and made your mark on the world. So that is the name for our brother here. That was what he wanted us to know, and that's what I abide by because that has special significance. That has special significance, and I honor that. It has significance because obviously you know what it meant. You obviously know what it meant. It meant the joining together of people into something that's greater than the sum of its parts. That was the way he thought about blackness. That was the contribution that he wanted to make to us. I think about the fact that I have more than one YouTube program here. He called into both of them, and he talked about how as black men, he had no respect for black men who did not get their children out of bad situations. He talked in depth about the situation with his child's mother. She was not a good steward there. The situation was not good. He did not take no for an answer. He didn't sit up here and let you be told, well, the court said what he can't do. He's a black man who got custody of his daughter And what he did was put the lie to any black male who claims they can't do it. It's not that you can't do it, it's because you don't want to do it. Black Voltron was not dedicated to still run the streets. He was dedicated first and foremost to fatherhood. That was his focus. Being a man, not continuing to be some overgrown teenager. And that was his focus. And we honor that. The hallmark of maturity is when you make a life of doing things the more difficult way. You're not a person who runs from difficulty or adversity. You're a person who shoulders it. That's why we can respect you and why we can respect him. Many people look for excuses, but Brother Voltron was not somebody who looked for excuses. He also didn't run. A whole lot of folks in California, in Oakland, have gotten up to leave. He wasn't one of them. He was determined to make his stand, which is what we have done throughout history. It serves as a paragon and a role model. That's what it served throughout history. That we did not run and we don't flee, even under difficult circumstances and difficult places. When we sit down and say, this is our home, this is where we are, then you're going to stand there, and that's what he was. And his daughter knows how to do so now because she watched a man who knew how to do it and showed how to do it. Doing the right thing doesn't mean doing it when it's easy. Doing the right thing means doing what's right when it's hard to do it, when it's difficult to do it. That's when you know when we truly can judge your character. Under adversity, when you have an easier avenue you can go down, and yet you continue going down the one you're on. In these days and in these times where the white supremacist power structure is rearing its head higher and uglier than it's been, it's trying to retake ground that we took from it. It is men and women, but particularly as black men of his caliber, who were not just uncompromising, but completely certain of why they were doing what they were doing. The world is going to throw temptation at you. The world is going to demand that you back down. The world is going to tell you all the reasons why you don't have to keep doing what you're doing. And I don't know exactly who it was who laid it for him. Might have been his father. He talked about his dad. Not really sure who it was who etched that in him. But I want you to understand that for all of you here, that is your legacy. I didn't say it will be. I said that is. He didn't become this person after he died. He became that person as he lived. We are talking about his life. And that is something that you either gain or you give up while you're alive. That's not something you're going to give up after you're gone. Oh, no. You either got that now or you don't have it now. That's the way that works. After you're gone, we just talk about how we remember you, or at least folks can be more honest. Now that you're no longer there, they can really tell folks what they really think of you. But by the way, if that's the dude that you were, it's going to manifest itself while you are here. And he wanted to make it very clear where he stood while he was here. 10 toes down, 24/7, 365, come what may. I remember when the brother, years and years and years ago, see, this thing about this right here is that we done got long in this thing now. I keep reminding you all that I know you've been listening to me week after week, year after year. Do you realize now we're going on 20 years now? We're going on 20 years now of doing this. A lot of you may have lost track of that. I've had to remind you that it's been over 10 years since Trayvon Martin was murdered. More than 10 years. It's been 10 years since I released my first documentary. It's been over 10 years since Trayvon Martin was killed. A lot of you lost track of that. You're like, it's been over a decade. It's more than a decade now. Time moves. And as it moves, we move into a position that we're steering the ship now. You didn't ask for it. You would have been perfectly fine with your parents and grandparents continuing to do so. No. Responsibility and authority are handed to you. It's not something you ask for. It is something that will be required. It is not something that you ask for, but it is something that will be required. So it's been years and years since many of you first called in to me. As we began the new black media, it's been years and years, and Brother Voltron was one of those people. He talked about how if he's out and he is somewhere, he gonna stand on business. He understood he was neither afraid to go to jail nor the grave, to stand on business, to stand on where he's supposed to be at for himself, for his family, for his people. That it's a new day and we will not be intimidated by the white supremacist power structure. This is a new people you talking to. We will not be a part of that. We will not be moved. Now, when you let somebody know that, oh yeah, you take seriously that liberty or death and that you are ready to deal either one. See, that's a whole different personality than they've been used to dealing with. They thought that spirit was gone with Malcolm. They thought that spirit was gone with Huey Newton. They thought that spirit was gone with Fred Hampton. Can you imagine the shock and horror on their faces and the chill that shocked down their spines when they realized that, by the way, we about it more than those brothers were. You are decades since the Watts riots, and yet the heart is still very much there. That's what Brother Black Voltron was about. That was the role model that he laid down. That it is very much still here. And the message got out. And the word got out. There may not be as many of us in California as there previously were, but understand the heart is not even nearly gone. And if you want it, you can get it. That is an example that you can be proud of. That is an example that you can have esteem in. That is an example that you can puff out your chest for and walk proudly for. That right there. To be a role model, an example to the people, not just the folk around you. That's the real thing right there. You see, leadership does not end at home. As men, leadership does not end at home. Leadership is not just what you demand of yourself, it's also what you demonstrate that you demand of others. Do you realize how many black males, how many people have not seen somebody who's uncompromising? Do you realize how many folk have grown up their whole lives and seen nothing but weak people around them? People who compromise, people who equivocate, people who live at the bottom, people who do not stand, have a principle to stand on. Do you realize how common that is? Maybe some of you grew up in a household where that was not uncommon, but do you realize for a lot of people that's uncommon? It's common for them to grow up in an environment where people are holding their heads down and ducking, where they don't. You meet so many black males who they speak in a very squeaky, soft voice. He'll be 6'8", squeaky, soft voice. We watched as they whitewashed the baritone out of the black males. We watched as they whitewashed the baritone out of them. This thing where you're supposed to be trying to convince the world of how unassuming and harmless that you are. That you've made it your goal to convince the world that you are harmless. Black Voltron did not move that way. Black Voltron wanted you to understand. He was a big man, and he wanted you to understand that if you want the threat is real. If you're looking for a threat, the threat is real. And he's not harmless. The threat's real, and he's not harmless. See, that makes a whole big difference. When your sons and your daughters are raised around that they were raised by black men who were not harmless and were not meek and were not shy, and their voices resonated in the room. You see, you live in a society that has tried to program you and influence you and coerce you into lowering yourself and diminishing yourself. So now you start doing all these things to micromanage yourself, to convince everyone else that you're totally harmless. You're the meekest thing in the room. And did you ever think that, by the way, they wanted you to start putting chains on yourself, mentally, emotionally? We'll start telling you need to be more self-conscious. You need to be self-conscious of what a threat you are. You need to be self-conscious. And Black Voltron wanted you to be self-conscious of the fact that you are not here to convince people that you are not a threat. The best way to keep people from attempting to assault you is to let them know that, by the way, if anything gets out of line, you are prepared. You are prepared. Not to call somebody else to do it. You are prepared to put things back to right. And when people hear your voice, and when they hear the way that you speak and they can hear you are serious, they start rethinking whatever it was they walked in the room with. They start reconsidering it. Yeah, it's not going to be that kind of situation. And that is why, under these kind of circumstances here, you already know what to do. See, that's what I loved about that brother. He was black and white. You all know exactly what he'd be saying right now. He would be like, man, I don't want to hear y'all crying and moaning and this, that, and the other. Bury the man and continue the plan. If you saw me marching, y'all supposed to keep marching. You saw me marching, y'all supposed to keep marching. That's a life. That's a legacy right there. When somebody can tell you exactly what he would say, if you said this, that's a legacy right there. You know what he would tell you. You know exactly what he would say, and you know exactly how he would say it. That's what I mean by uncompromising, consistent. You want to talk about a legacy? That's it right there. You know exactly what his words would be. You know exactly where he would check you on. And that's what I want you to pass on. I want you to start thinking about your life. I want all of you here, if there's anything to take away from this, I want you to start thinking about your life. Everybody thinks about what they would live for. How many think about what they would die for? I mean, literally. I don't mean figuratively. I'm talking about these are your life now has come to a point where your lifespan is now measured not in days, not in hours, but in seconds. What did you give that life to? I cannot promise you how long it will be, but the only thing I can guarantee you is how you can live it. What did you dedicate that life to? And I mean seriously, I need everybody in here to think about that in those terms. That you are thinking about your life and more importantly about what is it you would end that life for? I want you to think right now that your heart rate is slowing and your eyes are dimming and your hearing is going and you can't move your limbs and your breath is gotten short and you realize that in a couple of seconds you will be gone. And now you need to think about every day you had before that. What did you want that life to be dedicated to before you get to that point that you realize that no matter what happens after these next few seconds, I don't know what will happen after the next few seconds. I know you won't be here for it. Your woman, your kids, your parents, your siblings, your family member, your friends, they'll be here, not you. Okay, you've come to that moment. There will not be another tomorrow. There will not be another hour. What did you give your life to in this hour? At this moment? All these years that you've been living, what is it that you are willing to come to that point for? The point of no return. The point of closing your eyes and not waking up again. What did you live for to get to that moment? That there will be no tomorrow and you must leave your family and your friends behind. There will be no more experiences. You're done. What did you do with those years right before that moment that made that moment worth it? What did you do that you were willing to come to that moment for without compromise? Not fantasizing about it. I'm talking about literally. This is your last few seconds of existence. Now that you're here, what did you do that was worth coming to this point for? I want you all to think about that. A whole lot of you right now, you are living shy. You are living meek. There are a bunch of things you have not done, a bunch of things you did not do. And one day will be the last day for all of us. Now that you are aware of that, and you should have been aware of that. By the way, what is it that you've been afraid of? What is it you've been afraid of doing? What is the discipline you've been afraid of gaining? What is the thing you've been afraid of starting? There are a lot of you who have been living your life whispering. And that'll end up being your legacy. A life of whispering. I've always taught you all that your accomplishments should speak for you. One of those accomplishments is your character. Your character, your personality, your integrity. For a lot of people here, understand that's important. That's one of your achievements also. That other people can look at you and they can see that there's a way through because they saw you do that. That you have inspired them. If for nothing more than to stand up straight and be a man. If for nothing more than to not have to worry about consequences. We live in a society here that enacts consequences on black folk and gives everybody else a pass. And you have to understand that one of the pathways to freedom is going to be to endure that. That you are going to do what's necessary. Consequences be damned. Not figuratively, just like I said about dying, taking on consequences, not figuratively. Brothers and sisters from around the world, sometimes we'll be able to save you, sometimes we won't. It is what it is. We are a people under siege. We are a people under occupation. Sometimes we'll be able to get you out, sometimes we won't. Sometimes we'll be able to come through, sometimes we won't. Sometimes we can rally the troops, sometimes no matter what we do, we can't. That's just going to be a part of it. You are in war. Sometimes we're going to be able to bail you out, other times you're going to have to walk it down. Our job is to demonstrate to the enemy that no matter what it is, you're not going to break us. That he threatens you with consequences and you are going to stand firm. You tell that bastard, do your worst, but I will not be moved. Have you had somebody in your life who taught you, informed you from a child that that's the adult you've become? Not philosophically. You're not saying it as a slogan, but then you'll run from it if you ever had to do it. I'm talking about that's who you are, and that if it comes down to it, not figuratively, you are ready to do that tonight. Understand something. There's a whole lot of things you can leave behind and not be dead. Are you willing to stand for your people and leave your people out here while you do 30 years? Are you willing to do that? I just gave you the example of if you were in your last few seconds of life. What if you were in your last few seconds of freedom? Then do you still do the right thing? Do you still do it then? Or is this a hypothetical where you say, yeah, right, Jason, I'm with you right there. And then it comes down to it. Oh, man, what about my mama and my kids? You are not standing firm because you do not care about your family. You're not standing firm because you don't care about your kids. You're standing firm specifically because you do. And that you are doing this and sacrificing yourself so that they will have a better world to be in. And part of that is letting other folk here know, understand something. If you trespass and intrude on me and mine, you need to worry about the consequences I will deal out. I ain't worried about your consequences. You better be worried about mine. That's what it's going to be. And if we do that enough times, and if we show them that enough times, and if they run into that enough times, then they're gonna stop trying us. When they realize that we about that business all the way and that nothing's gonna stop us from being about it, that's what puts an end to it. Being a harmless and soft target emboldens them. And it's brothers like Black Voltron that have demonstrated the way in that. And so we salute him tonight for a job well done, brother. It has been an honor. It has been an honor for me to walk side by side with you now all these years. I have been honored to do so. I am just your host, your humble servant. You've been our brother, and this is what it means to be family right here. This is what it means. He didn't throw out excuses. He did not accept them. And now you can see that at the end of his life, that's the only thing you can talk about. That's what lets you know that was the right thing to do. But that takes courage. That requires courage. You have to be ready to offend people. You have to be ready to offend people's sensibilities. You got to be ready for folks to say, man, is it really that serious? Yes, it's that serious. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is that serious. That's exactly what it means. And as has happened so many times throughout history and down through the years here, now that you have seen the example laid out in front of you from its beginning to its conclusion, you have no excuses. You know what is the right way. You know, looking back over it, you're like, wow, that brother did the right thing. Now you know what the right thing is. Now it's incumbent on you. Now it's incumbent on you. It's incumbent on you, and as in that vein, I'd like to touch on a few more things here. I'd like to touch on a few more things here. I would like to talk about, and I'm saying this in general. I am saying this in general. I'd like to send out a message to all of my brothers and all of my sisters from all around the world. One of the issues with time slipping into the future is that we can become unaware or oblivious to the fact that things have changed because it's our time to experience life. And you hear a bunch of old folks who tell you that regardless of their age, how they feel at heart. Well, a lot of us fall victim to that also. When I first started doing this on the Black channel, I was in my early 30s. You look up one day and next thing you know, you're half a century old. Regardless of where you were 2 decades ago, you have to be cognizant that things have changed now. And you have to be aware of that. So I am going to also say, let us take this as a reminder for each and every one of us here. Part of being at war means that we got to be war ready, and war ready means fitness. That is something that we absolutely have to take seriously. And so I want to start off this next part here with saying that this is a reminder to us to take our health and our well-being seriously. This is hard for black men. Let me stop for a moment here and acknowledge that this is hard for black men. This part right here I'm talking about is hard for black men. Black men have spent so much time putting everybody else in front of ourselves. We spent so much time trying to prove that we're worthy, trying to prove that the stereotypes and negative things are not true. We have dedicated so much time to that. We've taken care of everybody else here around us, and we've considered it to be a point of honor to neglect ourselves. To the point, in fact, that you got $5,000 worth of wheels and hadn't had a doctor's appointment in a decade. And it is very, very important that we do so, and not just for the stuff that they approve. You live in a sickness system, not a health system, but a sickness system that tries to give you the bare minimum so that the insurance companies can stay filthy rich, and then they sit up here and keep moving the numbers in a manner in which is putting your life in jeopardy. Females are supposed to be getting mammograms in their 30s. And yet the guidelines don't say that. They pushed it into your 40s. Well, that's because not because the insurance companies didn't find females with breast cancer in their 30s and even their 20s. It's because they found it to be cheaper. Well, the numbers of those who get it in their 20s and 30s is really, really low. So we're willing to play the odds on your life that it's very unlikely you'll develop breast cancer in that time. So we won't pay for it because we're willing to gamble that you'll be okay. They're willing to gamble with your life. They know that women get breast cancer in their 20s and 30s, but they say, there's so few of you there. We'll play the odds. They're playing the odds with your life. Ruthlessly. With no mercy. Playing the odds with your life. It is critical that women get mammograms. At least you can have a baseline. People, we're not supposed to be waiting till we're sick to go somewhere. You're supposed to be going, when they say go get a checkup, that means a checkup to make sure everything is okay, not to find something wrong. You're supposed to be making sure everything is okay. You're supposed to be glad to go to the doctor's office to make sure that everything still looks clean bill of health. Everything's still straight. That's the purpose of going. It's not a waste to hear that everything's all right. It is not a waste of time to hear that everything is all right. That's not a waste. That's the whole point of being here, is to make sure it's still all right. You're going there to keep getting green check marks, just like at your job. Job performance is not a waste for you to have a job performance evaluation. You got a 100 last time, the 100 time before that. We're here to go get our next 100. That's not a waste of your time. That is the best use of your time. And do not let them squeeze that down and diminish that and reduce that and marginalize what it means. There are a bunch of you in here right now. I'm going to throw out some terms that all of you need to be aware of, especially if you're over the age of 40, but particularly if you're still breathing. People, if you haven't had an EKG, you want to do that. They put the little sticky things on you. Some of you have just done it at the ER. You need to get that done on a regular basis. You need to check on that. If you haven't had one, if you haven't had an echocardiogram, you want to have one of those. If you haven't, if you're a black male over the age of 35, to be totally honest, you need to get that. If you're a black male over the age of 35, you need to start thinking about a colonoscopy. I know it sounds icky. It sounds weird. We lost brother Chadwick Boseman 5 years ago. We lost brother Chadwick Boseman 5 years ago. This is not about you being squeamish. This is not about you being squeamish. I don't know. Black men are always complaining and talking about what other folks aren't doing for them and folk not looking out for them. Brother, you better look out for you. You better look out for you. Some of this stuff you talking about squeamish, man, you better look out for you. If you really think everybody else is not looking out for you, okay, you need to look out for you. You need to have a blood panel done. Everybody can do that. If you got LabCorp or somebody nearby, you need to have a blood panel done. So you can go ahead and take a look at those levels. Take a look at those lymph nodes. Take a look at your cholesterol levels. That's not something you want to let keep tripping on year after year. You want to go get those things checked on a regular basis so that they can see how it develops over time. That's what you want to do. If you're getting older, you want to get your prostate checked, you want to get your gallbladder checked. These are things you want to be watchful for. This is not the time to be squeamish. I will go even further. Some of y'all are not like me, but by the way, I'll go even further. And this is something right here I'm going to stomp to the end of time for right here. To everyone in here, you need to save up an extra $2,000. If your insurance will not cover it, and even if they do, you need to save up a couple of $1,000s and go and get yourself an MRI. Most people don't find out if they got prostate cancer, if they got an aortal aneurysm. They don't find out these things because that's not something that shows up like necessarily on an EKG or something. Might not necessarily show up on an X-ray. You get an MRI, they can see that. They can see that. And most folk don't think about that. You're like, I haven't been in a car accident. I don't have internal trauma. Why do I need an MRI? Because an MRI can see if you got brain tumors. See, that's when they take you in for that. Oh, we'll get an MRI and see if you got brain tumors. Shouldn't we find out earlier? Shouldn't you go in just to make sure they take a look at everything? Okay, everything's fine. I need you all to understand an MRI usually costs you somewhere, depending on what it is, $1,000 to $1,500. That is a very good investment. Now, it doesn't do full body. It's like from the middle of your thigh, from the top of your head to the middle of your thighs. That covers a lot. That covers a lot of territory. So as far as aortal aneurysms and prostate cancer and all this stuff right there, some of those internal things they have to look for that usually people find out by accident. And that's what happens with us is we find out because something else went wrong. That kind of coincidence, we can't live our lives based on that. You need to make it a priority. Do not shrug this off. For everybody in here listening, holiday season coming up, look here, them kids be all right with them toys this year. Somebody needs to go get an MRI. Get an MRI, get a CAT scan if you can, get a PET scan. That's kind of on the further end, but there's nothing wrong with that either. Make sure that they have looked inside of you. They've looked inside of you and they can see what's going on. And if there's any tumors cropping up or whatever, they've had an opportunity to examine you on the inside in areas that don't usually show up. Pancreatic cancer is deadly because most people don't catch it until it's in the late stages. It's not something that really shows up on x-rays. It's behind other organs. It's harder to see. So if they don't specifically go looking for it, generally speaking, they don't find it. No, MRIs are cheaper than that. So no, don't say that. The insurance company might charge you that. No, you can get it for cheaper than that. There are clinics and stuff like that do MRI imaging, so you can get it cheaper than that. No, it's not $2,500. If that's the number you were given, keep looking. There's places like Simon Med that do it, so it's not $2,500. There's places like Simon Med that do it. Now I'm just naming one. So no, don't tell people that lie. That's not true. That might be what your insurance is charged, but no, that's not the case. Even if it were, I still expect you to do it. But by the way, that's not the case. If you have a family history of cancer, you have to be very diligent because what that means is you have genetic markers. Gotta say it like it is. If there is a family history of cancer in your family, you have genetic markers. That means it's in your genetics that you're more predisposed to it. You need to be very vigilant. You need to be very vigilant. So first and foremost, no matter what physical condition you are in, you need to get checked. Blood tests, doctor's exam, you need to get checked. And to everybody in here, get an MRI. They have a bunch of black folk who die younger, and an MRI would have caught that. A number of things that an MRI would have caught. Don't think of that as just something for pregnant women or something for car accidents. They bring you for an MRI once you start getting tumors. You're like, oh, that's an MRI for that. Okay, then you find out later. And yes, for everybody, not just the men, don't slack on your colonoscopies or nothing. We don't have time or the luxury of the ew or the squeamish factor. Don't you understand? You live in a white supremacist society that is glad to see you die. They are happy to see you die, and if you neglect yourself, that makes life easier for them. So you cannot afford to be squeamish. You have every test you can do. I'm not saying this so that it makes you a hypochondriac. I'm saying this so that it makes you vigilant. Stop wondering if you're okay. Stop guessing if you're okay. Stop assuming that you're okay, and know that you're okay, or that you aren't. A lot of folks are scared because they're scared of what they'll be told. And here's the killing part about it. 90% of the time, if you find out, you can start doing something about it. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away. You being scared of that, just understand, is that reality talking? Is that your mammy talking? Is that your scared relatives talking? Is that those cowards you were raised around talking? When you can actually get up in there and find out before you have a medical emergency. So first and foremost, before you do anything, get yourself checked. Find out where you are. But Jason, what about working out and cardio? Yes, you need to do that too. Here's the problem. That's gonna take time. You want to know where you are right now, what your condition is, your total condition is right now. That's what you need to find out today. Losing the weight and getting fit and all this stuff, that's going to take time to do that. We need to find out what your condition is today. We can do that right this minute. And you need to know that right this minute. You might have something that can't wait for you to take that slim fast. You might have a situation going on that can't wait. So first thing to do is, while you're doing this other stuff, I need everybody in here to get a checkup. Everybody, 100%, no exceptions. Do not let any doctors or hospitals or clinics tell you that you cannot get it. Yes, you can. Do not let any of these people tell you you can't have it. If you are a female, get a mammogram. I don't care what your age is. Don't let anybody tell you you can't have it. Yes, you can. Don't let them lie to you. I got plenty of nurses in here, plenty of nurses, plenty of RNs, a couple of doctors who will tell you that's a damn lie. Any medical exam you want, you can get it. They sitting up here worrying about insurance. Damn you. If you want it, you can get it. So for the females, get your mammograms. Y'all talking about they get their pap smears and stuff. Get your mammograms and don't wait till you're 40. And you want to see a clean bill of health. Yep, I want to see everything's crisp and clean and spick and span. Yes, that's exactly what I want to see. Yeah, I want to see that right there. You wasting money. Okay, if somebody at the clinic or at the hospital or at the exam room or imaging office says that to you, you have my permission to punch them in the damn mouth. Compliments of Black Voltron. You have my permission to give them the Black Voltron pimp slap. What would Black Voltron do if they said that? Don't sit up here and let folks intimidate you into not taking care of yourself and telling you that's a bad investment. They don't talk to them. If Britney Spears and Taylor Swift showed up to their offices and did that, they wouldn't be talking to them that way. It's never a waste of time or a waste of money for anybody else. Your black ass show up, all of a sudden they're telling you it's a waste for you. Oh, you could have spent that money somewhere else. No, I need to spend it right here. Right here. I need to tell you all right now, if you got habits, I'm not going to argue with you over no damn habits. You know full damn well there's a reason why medical professionals do not have habits. They went to school and they have to work on and work with people. Talking about your damn habits. Smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, doing hard drugs, doing pills, drinking. And these people go to medical school and they have the annotated history of thousands of years of medicine to take a look at to see this is what happens when people do this. Not just occasionally, but also cumulatively. You don't have to be a hard drinker. You just be a regular one. Here we go. There can be health benefits. Most folk are not doing what's necessary to get that. They usually are doing what's necessary to kill themselves. They're trying to self-medicate. There's a reason why doctors in medical school is like, yeah, they're not doing all that nonsense. Yeah, they've seen enough dead bodies. They've seen enough cadavers. If these things were safe, they would be okay with it. They're sitting up here burying folk and wheeling them out the ER. Yeah, that's the result of it. For everybody in here, take that seriously. You take it deadly seriously. Because nobody's going to take it seriously for you. Put the damn habits down. And most importantly here, I need my people to understand that if you're going to be on a warrior footing, that starts every single day. I want to talk about where I live, the state of Louisiana, the obesity epidemic out of damn me control. And then they want to put limits on who can get Ozempic. But here's the issue about it. That is an imaging problem, people. I have traveled this country from coast to coast. I want to have a real conversation with y'all right now. I have traveled this nation from coast to coast. I have driven from the Atlantic to the Pacific and back again several times. And I have to tell you, when I take a look at places like California, when I take a look at places like Florida, when I take a look at places like New York, there's a reason that the people there are slimmer. There's a reason why the people there are in better shape. I need all my folks here in the deep southern states, in Alabama and Atlanta and Arkansas and Louisiana, where folks are slacking. I need to have a real conversation with you about why people look different in California and Florida and New York. When the size 16 or 18 comes rumbling down the beach, like, oh, your ass from Louisiana. Oh, you're not from Miami. You're from Louisiana. And you're clearly in denial. Wearing a two-piece bikini made by the tailors at Harbor Freight. And her and 5 others come rumbling down the beach, messing up the sand. Completely oblivious. People, I need to say something. Let me say something right now to black women everywhere. I need black women to stop being so damn emotionally broken and damaged and wounded. Understand something. Black women today, they're not doing that kind of goofy stuff that I just named because they're unaware. They're doing it because they think they're being rebellious. If I can't enjoy life, nobody will. If I'm going to be messed up, everybody else going to be messed up with me. And I need for you all to get off that wounded garbage. You spending $6,000 on a handbag and haven't spent $150 on a checkup or $10 a month on a gym membership. Sitting up here talking about how nice the working out dude in Ashton Hall and whatnot. Talking about that right there. Ashton Hall couldn't even pick your big ass up. I need black women to stop being happy and stop being satisfied being the laughing stock. Let me say that one more again. I need black women to stop being satisfied and happy being a laughing stock. You all have gotten to a point where you're okay with people laughing at you and mocking you and giggling when you go by. You're okay being pariahs. That's sick. That's a sickness. And that sickness was passed down to you by your greasy granny and your messy mammy. That's who did that to you. They blew their chances in life. They messed up their chances in life. And now they've been digging their way to the bottom of a box of Dunkin' Donuts ever since. And they passed that on to you because the truth of the matter is they don't want to see you do any better. She's sick, she's stuck, she's out of luck, and she's okay with you being right there with her. And that's why there are so many obese black females come rumbling through the Essence Festival or through Walmart, and there's 3 generations of them. But by the way, did you all notice something? Did you notice something? I want you to go check on grandma, check on mom, and then look on daughter. You notice they get successively bigger. Grandma's the smallest one of the 3. Grandmama is the smallest one of the 3. Did you notice that? Grandmama's the smallest one of the 3. Mama is bigger than grandmama, and the daughter is bigger than the 2 of them put together. Interesting. I think somebody sabotaged the daughter. I think they did that to her on purpose. I think they did that to her on purpose because misery loves company. And you have decided to volunteer to be the next one in line. You want to be rebellious? You don't be rebellious at the folk of the damn beach. You be rebellious against your pathetic mama and your grandmama and show them I ain't going to be like you. I'm not going to smoke. I'm not going to drink. And I'm going to have something in the mirror I can be damn me proud of. That's rebellion. You want to have a real rebellion? That's the one. But we need to be honest about how the hell you got there. Too many women today are content and happy to be an embarrassment and a laughing stock. You're okay getting laughed at and okay getting mocked. You don't expect anything from yourself. That's why you want to be hard on black men. You want them to outperform so that you can be pathetic. Yes, another thing I want to touch on is that a lot of you come from southern states. A bunch of folk who go to California come from southern states. The South, and I'm here, has a lot of positives for it, but there's also a big negative that these larger cities have that we don't have in the South. You have a lot more people. When you have a lot more people in one area, you have a lot more eyeballs on you. So if you off your damn game, there's a whole lot more scrutiny on you. When you come from smaller cities, mid-sized cities, small towns, rural areas, there's not a whole bunch of people to see you. So you can get totally toe the hell down and mess the hell up. And then when you end up in another place, there are a lot more eyeballs. In New York, there are people everywhere. That means eyeballs on you. In Florida, Miami, there's people everywhere. That means eyeballs on you. Cali, there's people everywhere. That means eyeballs on you. So you got to be up to code because somebody's always watching. Everywhere you go, there's eyeballs on you. You're a lot more cognizant and a lot more conscious of the way you look, the way you act, the way you smell, the way you talk, the what you drive, how you live in. And that scrutiny is a good thing. That scrutiny is a good thing. That's the reason why the females from California and from Florida and from New York look a whole lot more svelte and fit than the females from the other 46 states. There's a reason for that. Hawaii, California, New York, Florida. Yeah, there's a reason why the other chicks tend to be thrown off because they come from smaller places where there's not that much scrutiny, not as many eyeballs. They can be messed up. Then they end up in a place where there are a bunch of eyeballs and she's a damn joke. So you need to fit in. The other reason here is, by the way, you're going to have lived your whole damn life and died, and nowhere in between there were you actually up to code. Never were you ever actually there, living a damn substandard life. You were never the center of attention for a good reason. And I need you as women to get plugged into that. I need you to start making that the culture, that you plugged into that. That you are not okay being the laughing stock and snickering at, that people are snickering for a reason and it's a good one. This is not they hating on you. It's you ain't up to code. And for the men in particular here, as the men, we have made it a point of honor to neglect ourselves, a point of honor to make sure your broad is good. You can be Biggie Smalls, but your chick got to be Lil' Kim. You can be Moray, but your chick got to be Nicki Minaj. You can be Dave Blunts, but your chick got to be I don't want to say, your chick got to be Beyonce. Your chick got to be Beyonce, but you can be Dave Blunts. Fellas, the revolution begins here. The revolution begins here. We have to discard and throw away completely this idea that the mess of the previous generations getting progressively worse, that we gonna sign up for that. No, you don't have to be built like The Rock. No, you don't have to be built like Ashton Hall. No, you don't have to be. But what I am saying is, for the men right now, if the white supremacist ran up on you, all he'd have to do is sit up there and run around you 3-4 times. Your cardio wouldn't keep up. He wouldn't even have to outbox you. All he got to do is keep moving. You can't keep up with him. I need, as men, we have to start saying, you know what? We demand better because we're showing by example. I need for the men to make that a priority, up one side and down the other. And also for the simple fact that we can demand better. I'm also going to say right here, there's a real sickness that came in due to socioeconomic standing. As men, we cannot allow the broke niggas into the room. They can't be allowed into the room to talk because, you see, he has low standards. He can't afford to have higher standards. He can't support anything else. So every time he opens his mouth, he's going to be telling us about how we can lower the standards even more, which is really so he can keep up, which he never will do. Fellas, broke dumb niggas sat up here and took the word thick and then just expanded that to anything that ain't fit. We got to stomp them niggas out because you're accepting that from the females, and so inversely you're accepting it from yourself. And that's one thing when you're in your 20s, then you're in your 40s and 50s, that has devastating consequences. As men, we can't, y'all know I don't use the word thick. I use the word fit. She can have thick thighs if she got muscle tone, she thick enough. But you notice I don't use the word thick. I use the word fit. And there are many different versions of that. You can be slender fit. You can be more thick fit. But if she ain't got any muscle tone, oh, baby, this ain't thickness. You ain't going to get away with that. And fellas have to start making that the code. You got to start making that the standard. Starting with the men. We got to be on code. And fellas, I'm not talking about being on code for a chick. I'm talking about being on code for survival, man. I'm talking about being on code simply for survival. You sitting up here trying to fight white supremacy with sweatpants on. You need to be wearing a belt. If you got to stomp a mud hole in somebody's backside, you need to make sure your trousers ain't going to be falling off of you. You got work to put in. You got work to put in. And you supposed to stay ready for it. The other thing is, when you look a certain way, most of your physical confrontations will be diffused when they take a look at you like, oh, hell, he looked like he can handle himself. He looked like he can pick up 300 or 400 pounds. Yeah, he'll pick you up and break you over his damn knee. Okay, all of a sudden, people ain't ready to try you. So as men, that has to be an intrinsic part of the code. That must be an intrinsic part of the code. When you go to prison, they don't want to see you up here out of shape like that because they know, man, it could jump off at any time. You the weak link in the chain. You the weak link in the chain. Can't have it. You got to be up to code. Okay, that's the way it is behind bars, but that's also the way it is out here on the street, man. That's the way it is out here on the street. By the way, and I'm not even talking about running. I'm talking about if two white supremacists run up on you, do you got the ability to box the both of them? You got to beat the brakes off of one? Do you got enough cardio to beat the brakes off the both of them? Or have you thrown two punches and he's out of breath? I'm talking about that. As men, man, we can't have that, man. I know it was a bunch of old raggedy single mother hoes and sluts that started this nonsense, but as the men, we got to slam on the brakes, hit the reset button, and reboot this whole thing. You can't be in your best condition with a joint in your hand or a burger. As men, we have to have that. Another thing, and I'm from Louisiana. Louisiana's famous for its food. Take a look at the physical condition. It's either all good or all bad. In Louisiana, it's either all good or all bad. Ain't no in between. And I need for black men to be in the situation here was, I gotta say this, fellas, and understand, I'm from a place that loves food. I understand that. I love a good snack along with anybody else. But I need black men to be very sparing at no dinner table. The whole reason for us being productive is so we ain't spending a bunch of time at the dinner table. We are not spending a bunch of time at the dinner table, man. We supposed to be up and about and at it. You want to talk about dominance? Exercise some dominance over that 25-pound barbell, over that 25-pound dumbbell. Exercise some dominance over there. Show that. When people see that you are capable, they start depending on you more. When you are, nobody's going to depend on a man who obviously looks incapable. But they will naturally gravitate to and trust a man who looks capable. If you are capable of work, people will look to you and depend on you for that. But if you look obviously incapable of work, they're not going to look to you for that. I'm not trying to beat up on them tonight, but there's a reason why nobody's looking to Dave Blunts to get any real physical labor done. You look at him, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Let me find somebody else to depend on. So as men, that is very, very important. The women need to get them a vegetable-based diet. The men need to have a protein-based diet and picking up the weights, making it do what it do. And everybody needs to have the goal of having that fitness there together. Now you've taken care of the outside and the inside. You made sure that you don't just look okay, you are okay. Now you're going to be here for a good long damn time to give these white supremacists hell. You're going to be here for a good long time to see your plans through from creation to fruition, which is the one thing they don't want. Our generation needs to make it an absolute priority that we have standards. We need to make it an absolute priority that we have standards. Standards for ourselves, standards for the people around us, standards for the men, standards for the women, and everybody got to pull their damn weight. Pardon the expression. Everyone has to pull their weight. We don't have any time or any room for you sitting up here talking about everybody else can be on point and you can be slacking. Everybody needs to be able to pull their damn weight. No weak links in the chain. And you should be proud to be so. No weak links in the chain. Everybody in here got a Netflix subscription. There's your gym membership. By the way, I don't like gyms. I got all the gear myself because I don't like people. Okay, maybe you don't have that option. Dude, are you serious? People, we got, you know the crazy thing about being in Louisiana? You know the crazy thing about being in Louisiana? We got gyms everywhere here. That's the insane thing about being in Louisiana. We got gyms everywhere. I'm not kidding. We got gyms everywhere here. That's the insane part. So it's not that folk, and where you at is no different. You got access to that stuff. You got access. The real issue is where's the desire? You were raised around a bunch of folk. They were living like that. And by the way, did you ever think that they were living that way because they wanted you to be the bare minimum? They wanted you to do the bare minimum and be the bare minimum so that they would have a buddy with them for the rest of their lives. Okay, but in the process, you sacrificed yourself. Stop sacrificing yourself. Have those standards, hold those standards, keep those standards. If you're the first person in your family, it would be better for you to be the first size 6 in your family than to be the first person with 6 degrees in your family. It would do your bloodline more good for you to be the first size 6 with a healthy cholesterol level than to be the first person with 6 degrees, 6 doctorates, 6 masters. That would do your bloodline a hell of a whole lot more good. And it's not just about looking good in a pair of jeans or looking good in a t-shirt. It is about the fact that you have optimized your life. You're getting the best out of it and the most out of it. That's the reason. You got folk tonight in wheelchairs, people who are quadriplegics who would give up every damn thing they got to be you. To be in a situation where your arms and your legs work and all you got to do is lose weight. Do you realize how many people around you in rehabs and in wheelchairs wish they had your advantages? You need to think about that for a few moments. There are a bunch of people wish they were able-bodied as you, regardless of your age tonight. There's a bunch of folk your age wish they were as able-bodied as you, and you are a waste. You're a waste of capability and a waste of able-bodiedness. In a universe of justice, we will put you in that wheelchair and give your capability to somebody who's actually going to use it. This digging for the bottom of the damn barrel, that's got to go. And everybody needs to be on that, not with everybody else. Everybody needs to be on that for themselves. So I want to say this tonight to every single person in the sound of my voice, whether live or recorded, from this day on here, you all need to make your health and wellness that is a critical key foundation of Black empowerment. You cannot be empowered if you are weak and sick or all the above. You being in good physical health, not wondering if you are, but knowing if you are. Ain't gonna be a Gucci bag this year. Ain't gonna be a Fendi bag this year. It's gonna be a MRI and some blood work and a colonoscopy and a mammogram this year. All of those things. It's gonna be an EKG and an echocardiogram this year. A lot of you don't like that because it makes you feel weak. You don't want to be sitting there and whatnot. You got to be laid up in front of a nurse. I'm a man. I know that one. I got to talk to the men right quick. Fellas, I know how it is. I am a man. I know what it is to be bragging about you having been to the doctor in years and years. Let me tell y'all, fellas, that ain't a flex. That's a fail. It is not a flex to tell people that you haven't been to a doctor in years. That's crazy talk. That's one thing when you're 16 years old. That's one thing when you're 22 years old. That's a whole nother thing when you're 42 years old. That's not something to brag about. Man, you're on a suicide mission. You're reckless. You're a time bomb. You don't have any clue what's going on. That's not a flex. That's not a flex. Having a competent primary physician is a flex. If he's competent, that's a flex. As men, you picked it up from some of your mammies, these damn liabilities, and you're calling those virtues. Do you hear how upside down you got the world? You're literally bragging that don't nobody know if I'm healthy. What did you say? I ain't been a doctor in years. No. So you're bragging that nobody knows if you're healthy. I feel like. Do you even know what all right is? Do you even know what all right is? And have no idea. You're just guessing. And you don't even know how to make a proper guess. That's the killing part about it. You're guessing and don't even know how to make a proper guess. I need folks to take that to heart, that this needs to become the intrinsic part of the culture. That this is a hallmark and an intrinsic part of the culture for us. Too many people are bragging on things that are an absolute shame. It's an embarrassment and you bragging on it. So for the fellas who thought that the size 18 moo-moos walking down the beach were the problem, by the way, fellas, and there's a lot of y'all think it's a flex and it's a problem too. And I ain't beating up on you, even though some of y'all are going to be a little tender booty about it. I'm not beating up on you. I'm telling you, I've been that guy too. I'm not telling you what somebody else told me. I've been that guy. I know what it's like to sit there and think that's a flex and think that's funny and cute. Not funny, but to think that's a sign of manhood. That's a sign of recklessness and silliness. The other thing is, by the way, in places like California and Florida has a lot of hospitals there. California, a lot of hospitals there. People take their health more seriously. No wonder they look better. You have groups of people. That's another thing you need to have. We need to have groups of people who take this stuff seriously. It's a lifestyle. Let me tell you, the most dangerous place you can hang out with is hanging out with friends who are always stopping at Five Guys. Man, you might as well have friends who are always stopping every day at the crack house. If the four people you hang out with most are always hanging out at Five Guys or any other fast food joint, man, you might as well have a bunch of dudes hanging out at crack house. That might as well be where you at. You need people who are around you. They're living that life and getting that straight. That's where you need to be. So that's who you surrounded yourself. That's the culture that you are now a part of. That's now the culture you're a part of. That wearing a size 8 or 6 pair of jeans for a female, that's a flex. Stop sitting up here and looking on Instagram and idolizing other women and start looking in the mirror and idolizing yourself. Isn't that a pathetic statement on your life when you can admire other women, but you can't admire you? Okay, but this is your life. You're admiring another woman for her life. When do you get to a point where you can admire yourself for yours? All this living vicariously. So you end up like the people on the spaceship in WALL-E, in the movie WALL-E. And that wasn't even a joke at the time they were saying it. That was really mimicking reality. I'm saying just simple truth here. You're sitting up here getting off on watching other people living their life. What about yours? What about yours? Isn't that worth the work? You know, to have those experiences for yourself. But so many of you have grown accustomed to losing. I'm going to say it just like it is. So many of you have grown accustomed to losing and being a loser that you've grown comfortable in your dejected reprobate state. So that's the first sickness you are going to have to shell off. That's the first one. Jason, where do I start? You need to have a primary physician. That's cool. You also need to have a nutritionist. There's another part of the medical field you ain't thought of before. To everybody in here, there's a bunch of diets out there. There's a bunch of stuff people are going to say. You're going to talk about cleansers. Okay, let's talk about some real things. Here's something everybody has access to. Everybody has access to a nutritionist. While you are looking up a primary care physician and a fitness trainer, also make sure you have a nutritionist. Let's go ahead and get a nutritionist popping so that you're not guessing your way through these things. There's no reason you shouldn't have a doctor for your body and a nutritionist for your diet. Now everything is in place. And you take that seriously. Would you like me to go even further with it? Because I understand the situation is dire. There's a bunch of y'all who need to take a hiatus. You need to take a sabbatical. You need to back away from all this stuff. Back away from the cell phone, back away from the internet, back away from social media, back away from the table. You need to go, 0 dark 30. You need to go incognito. You need to go incommunicado. You need to go incommunicado. The folk you talking to are obviously not helping you. You need to take some time in solitude and sit down with yourself for the first time in your adult life and take a look in the mirror and ask yourself if that's a person you're proud of. Is this truly the best I can do? Not for my mom, not for my dad, not for my school teachers, not for my siblings, not for black society, for me. And everybody else benefits from that. But you need to do that. Especially to the women in here. You need to get a I've told y'all this for years and years now. You need to get a full length body mirror, take off all your clothes, stand there in the mirror and have a heart to heart with yourself and say, is this the person I wish to be? Is this the best I can do? And then you sit up here and say, okay, if the answer is no, I'm not talking to people. I ain't doing nothing here. At the very least, get yourself up and walk 30 minutes. You're going to get up to an hour eventually. We are going to watch what the hell we're eating. All the snacks and treats out the damn window. Go clean out your refrigerator and start your main grocery shopping is on the produce aisle and the meat aisle. Let me tell y'all something right there. When you go to a place like Walmart or whatever, let me tell you, the majority of your shopping should be on the outside of the aisles, not up and down the aisles. Up and down the aisles is where the high processed stuff is. Up and down the aisles is where the genetically modified stuff is. The outliers of it, the outside of the aisles, that's where the meat is and the ground beef and the poultry. That's where the natural stuff is. The produce. That's way over here. Yeah, there it is. Nothing on the aisles. The stuff you really need is on the outside, not on the aisles. I mean, you might have some olive oil in there, but you ought to be off them aisles in about a few minutes. The majority of that grocery basket needs to be from the produce and the meat section. And by the way, let me tell y'all what else is a flex. You want to hear about a nutritional flex? Oh man, we're going here tonight. This is a conversation we need to have with all my fellow soldiers. Let me tell y'all what's a nutritional flex. A nutritional flex is, give me just a moment here. I need to do something right quick. All right, I just noticed I didn't have my soundboard hooked up here properly. Needed to make sure that was together because I had a few things I needed to say. There you go. Folks, you want to know what's a nutritional flex? A nutritional flex is when you go to the grocery store and you buy some fresh trout. What? Buying some fresh trout, buying some fresh salmon, buying some fresh lobster. Although be sparing on that. There's a flex for you. That right there. And I don't give a damn if you get it in the bag or not. But by the way, if you really want to flex with it, when you're able to go to the seafood section, some of y'all, if you got a Publix, if you got a Whole Foods, or if you got a Walmart, if you can go to seafood, if you got an Albertsons or a Kroger's, stop by the seafood section right there and get you something fresh. You go to restaurants and whatnot. You want to talk about a nutritional flex? How about that right there? There's a flex right there. If you have a seafood if you have a seafood store, some of y'all if you live in places like California, Virginia, New York, Florida, the Carolinas. If you're living in a coastal area, you got a lot of these places. You got seafood stores. If you don't, look where the Asians are. A lot of these Asians, they keep access to having seafood in these Asian fish stores and these Asian seafood stores. You want to flex? Go do that. You're not going to be able to flex to people about your bag of Oreos. Learn how to do that. A bunch of you females in here spent your whole damn lives watching Gordon Ramsay. You spent your life watching Gordon Ramsay. What the hell did you learn? What did you learn? I want you to be aware. You want to talk about the nutritional flex? That's a flex right there. That right there, when you can say that's in your refrigerator, that's in your freezer. There's a flex for you. That's balling right there. When you go because let me, do I need to go here? Oh, I'm going to go here. You see, when y'all get around non-black people, when we get around non-black people, everybody wants to be an expert in these other things. All of a sudden, you're not squeamish about the seafood section. You're not squeamish about the wine list, the seafood section. When you get around non-black people, all of a sudden, there's no stigma about that. Now, isn't that interesting? All the crab cakes and hors d'oeuvres and the seafood and stuff, all of a sudden you ain't squeamish when you're around them. It's not an argument or a debate when you're around them. You get around black folk and all of a sudden here's back to the damn slum. You get around these other folk and all of a sudden, oh, somebody in the chat room said sushi. Hell yeah. Every black person up in here, if I left you around some Japanese people, you would be dogged and determined to show them how much you know about sushi. Okay, but then you take a look at the overall lifestyle. You're stopping at Southern Classic Chicken. So the Japanese fellas over here eating sushi, and we stopping at churches. What the hell's going on with the lifestyle here, man? And I don't even want to talk about vegetables. To the black females in here, the ones of you, when y'all hang out with the white girls, all of a sudden you have a daily diet of asparagus. This idea that we only step our game up when there are non-black people around is an insult. That's an abomination. That the only time you want to give your best and pursue your best is around non-black people. So you give non-black people your best and you give black folk whatever you want to slop off the table. That's an insult. That's an abomination. You're supposed to be giving your best here all day, every day. Because that's a testament on your life. That's a testament on you. To the women in here, I want you to understand something here. A man don't have no damn problem buying a $100,000 car for a female who owns a Ninja and an air fryer and knows what to do with it.
And deal with it.
And by the way, you're not stupid. You already know that. When a man takes a look at you and you can walk around with the damn stretch pants on and you ain't looking crazy as hell. Take a look in your shopping cart. Everything looks like produce and plants. When a man sees that, he knows where the hell his money going. That's an investment that he can make. He doesn't have a problem with that. Ladies, when you look like you go to the gym, a man ain't got a problem paying for your damn car repairs. When it's, hey baby, I can't get to the gym today. My car ain't working. Oh baby, hold on a second. Let me get my man on the phone here. Oh no, we can't have that. No, baby, I got you. Don't worry. Oh no, baby, we can't miss that gym time. Can't do it. This nigga ain't picking up. Understand something. If you got it right and tight, a man don't have a damn he gonna make sure that car stay rolling. If you making him look good every time you hop out the Maybach, he gonna make sure your ride rolling. All this back and forth and arguing, that's for hoes who don't look worth nothing. When a chick is on point, man, look here, he can't take it with him, the money gonna move. He'll get that thing towed to Firestone his damn self. You arguing with fellas because, hey, baby, if you ain't up to code, he's like, wait a minute now, I can spend this money on some ho-hos or Twinkies or some new tennis shoes, and why I gotta waste it on you? That's the difference. It eliminates unnecessary arguments. You want to take a look at women online who are doing the damn work and getting the benefits. Hey, ma'am, if you became the woman who did the work, you would get the benefits. I need the women in here to understand something here. If your man got it, a man thinks nothing. Listen to me very carefully. A man thinks absolutely nothing of spending $20,000 on a female who is bringing him $100,000 of feminine performance. A man thinks nothing of it because he's getting his value worth. We can go buy a new damn car. We can get another car. What the hell you think that credit score is for? He doesn't even think about the damn money. It's money well spent. If he shows up on Ocean, if he shows up in Clearwater, if he shows up in Manhattan, in Times Square, and you wearing the hell out them jeans or the hell out that body dress, he don't have a problem with that. There is no arguing with him. And he gonna make sure everything else matches. But when you make it very clear that there is doubt that this is a good investment, oh well, there you go. There you go. So to the people in here, let this be a wake-up call. And let this be a clarion call to all of us to take life seriously. And that these things we've been slacking on and taking for granted or neglecting, those can't be neglected anymore. That is not just an insult to you, it's an insult to everyone around you. We don't have any room to ignore those things anymore. Not at all. Not at all. And give us something to be proud of, so dedicate yourselves to that. I want this to sink in. And dedicate yourself to that. And dedicate yourself to the marvels and the benefits of it. Will it be a little more expensive? Well, yeah, it will be. But then again, what is your life worth? Okay, it might cost you a little bit more, but then again, what is your life worth? How much is your life worth? How much is it worth? And that needs to be a very important thing that everybody gets on the same page. You know what? Then you have things in common. You got things in common and you both have similar performance. Y'all ready to ride. But stop having folk living on a wing and a prayer and wondering if it's worth their time and this, that, and the other. Man, look here. Everybody, this is a wake-up call. It's been a wake-up call, but now more than ever going forward, this is the value that I want us to make one of our core principles, a core foundation, that other people can depend on you to take care of yourself so that they can invest in you, because their investment isn't just going to blink out tomorrow morning. Give them something they can actually invest in, and then make it a life of doing so. We're going to go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. But before I do, I would like to just stop for a few moments here. And I want to give a thanks to everybody who has contributed to support the program. Many of you have been here for years. Many of you have followed us for years. Many of you knew Black Voltron. And I want to say just one time here that I am grateful and honored to meet and to make the acquaintance of all of you who have walked this road, who have seen Black empowerment go from something that people laughed at to something that now presidents of the United States take deadly seriously. I'd like to thank all of you for each time that you stepped in for that, and each time you continue to do that. I know that some of you in your daily personal lives, you are walking this road alone. You ain't got anybody else up in here that you can talk to about that. I understand that. I get that, and that is not lost on me. So I am sending my respect and I am sending my admiration to each of you who have been a part of this journey all this time, and that you didn't just pay lip service, that you paid real service for that. I want to thank everyone for that. To my brother, Mr. Richburg, y'all hear me talk about him a lot. I want to take this as an opportunity to acknowledge people like that. They could do anything. They could be anywhere. They could be doing anything tonight, but you are here. And that tells me with all these other options you had, if you are here, this is what you take seriously. And I acknowledge that. To my man, Mr. Fleurville, thank you very much for your support tonight, brother. To Mark, thank you for that as well. I also had a couple here in the super chat as well. I had my man W1 Chucky Woo. He was up in here. He shows up a lot. And I want to just take this as an opportunity to acknowledge people. I just want to stop for a few moments and slow it down just a little bit. Slow it down just a little bit so I can acknowledge people. And I know y'all show up every week. I'm not going to go say literally everybody, but I do want you to be aware. Nancy King, she shows up a lot. Thank you for that. Black to Deaf, who gives out memberships to people. He's doing that for other people. These are the folks who really care about these things. FBA Queen, Logic Before Emotion. These are folks who care about these things. And I want to acknowledge some of the people who do that. It has not gone unnoticed. It has not gone unseen. I've been a person who that's been okay for me. I'm okay being an unsung, I don't want to say unsung hero, but I'm okay being an unsung soldier. I'm okay with that. But I do want to take this as a moment to say to everybody else, just because I've accepted that, I want you to understand, please don't think for a moment that you've been unseen. Not at all. Not at all. To Walter and everybody else on Venmo, thank you very much. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and throw up the link to the Zoom, and you all will be welcome to give us a call there as well. This is the Black Channel.
Be the teacher, knowledge on the block. Got the kids learning, minds open like a lock. Books and skills from the east to the west. Bringing education, yeah, we're simply the best. Classes on fire, brains burning with desire. Innovation driving like a tire through the mire. Math, science, history, we got the whole range. Kids hitting new heights, teachers making a change. Used to be the teacher, stacking up the grades. Future bright shining, no need for no shades. Got the youth thriving, moving up the ladder. Smart and sharp, brains growing fatter. Lessons so lit, yeah, they stay in a blaze. Every mind sharp like a sword in the haze. Mr. be in the house breaking knowledge chains. Education kingpin, we repping the game. Students to be the teacher.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. Tonight is a program here of remembrance. We've been talking about a number of different things. And this was prompted by our brother Black Voltron. He passed earlier this week. Like I say, I don't have a bunch of details, but it seems that it may have been a cardiac issue. So it seems it might have been a cardiac issue here is what it looks like. And so I wanted to take this as an opportunity to revere our brother and to remember our brother and to also discuss how we are going to carry things on, because that's exactly what he would tell us to do. So everybody already knows that. We're going to go ahead and jump over here on the Zoom right quick. Let me see if I can get Gene up here on Zoom. All right, Gene, what's on your mind, brother?
How you doing, brother? I just want to first say I would love to thank you for, making me aware that there were and there is other voices like mine out here that speak truth to power and that believe in the power of us as a people. For our brother, man, that kind of hit hard and hit so sudden that I'm really at a loss of words, because I guess what I can do is I can talk about when I first heard you actually have some calls in to speak our mind, and I heard that brother voice, and he was just so calm, so straight to the point that you couldn't miss his point. And I said to myself, I said, this is truth. This is something I know that I'm standing by. It's really the truth. It's really power. I'm not the only person. There's other people just like me that think like me. Like, we as a people need and have to fight back. So thank you. Thank you for showing me the pathway I need to constantly stay on to stand in truth to power. I appreciate you as well, brother.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight, brother. We appreciate that. And like I say, everybody doesn't have to be like me. Everybody is not like me, thank goodness. And you don't have to be. All it is about, this place is a lighthouse that just lets you know you're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not the only one who sees it. And now we reached a point where it's become the national dialogue. And Brother Voltron was a critical key part of that. He was a part of that. Let me go ahead and see if we can get Anna up here on Zoom right quick. Let me try to get Anna up here. Hopefully Anna has not been abducted. She might not be paying attention here. Anna, if you are listening, you're on. Okay, Anna, I can give you a few more seconds here, then I got to move on. All right, Anna, I can give you 5 more seconds, then we got to go. Anna must have hit that thing and then went out there to go have a patio party. Unmute yourself, Anna. Okay, I think I know what to get Anna this week. A younger person who knows how to work this newfangled technology. Okay, let me put Anna back in the waiting room here. She's working on that. Okay, let me see if we can get Brother Elijah up here on Zoom. Brother Elijah, what's on your mind?
Hey, big brother, how you doing? Brother, look, I want to set the tone for what I'm going to say first. Look, I appreciate the correction yesterday on the other broadcast, and let me just say I apologize because I jumped the gun too soon yesterday. So
well, let me go ahead and have a few words about that as well.
Yes, sir.
A lot of things happen, and I'm not trying to trivialize or minimize these things at all. So you all already know that. A lot of things happen. You have to think about the fact that this program, we are here in the moment, but this program is going to go into a library with a bunch of others, and people after this are going to come across it. I mean, if they don't listen in the next 2-3 weeks, then they'll come across it at random. And that goes for everything that I upload in any program that I do. One of my hallmarks, as you all know, has been discipline. And I have to insist on that discipline. It's not about being disrespectful. It's not about being dismissive. I understand that you all don't have a lot of outlets to be able to speak to this publicly about. I get that. But I have to insist on discipline because I don't want people to just randomly hijack the program. To just take it into just any old direction at any time. And once you start becoming that, then it just becomes a free-for-all. So it's important for me to do that. That was number one. So I have to maintain discipline to make sure that, we stay on point, because do you know how hard it is to keep people focused on something?
Yes, sir.
Second thing, however, though, is that I felt this was too big of a subject for me to have on some program. I didn't want to deal with it in a passing manner. So don't start something you can't finish. I don't want, if I can't handle it properly and its totality, I would just rather not do it at all. So that was the beginning of conversation, because like I say, a bunch of people didn't even know. So I didn't want a situation where that was going to become the topic of conversation. And over here, this is home. This is where y'all met him at. This is where everything starts from. And this is the right forum to have that conversation. And then nothing's getting hijacked. Everything's on point. Everything is on discipline. And I can deal with it properly in a long form over here and do the brother the justice he deserves.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look, thank you so much again. And I just want to say rest in peace to our big brother. And then you said a lot of highlighting things about not fleeing. The brother lived in San Francisco, and we understand the dichotomy over there going on over there with black people and those so-called liberals and everything like that. And he didn't try to run from it. He stood 10 toes down in difficult times over there. And that was just highly commendable, because, it's very hard to stay somewhere where you can't afford. I'm not saying his particular situation, but they made the environment so ridiculously expensive over there that when the techies came, they replaced the black people over there with the techies and everything. And he said, I ain't leaving. And that was some powerful stuff. Also, what you said about the brother, how he fought the white supremacy to get his daughter and everything like that. I want brothers to really understand, white supremacy should not go past the door of your house. You, as a black man, should be the law and only the law in there. All right? That's just my belief, personal belief. All right? And I thank you for highlighting that. Also, when you said about the health, speaking of the devil, in March, and when you was talking about the MRI, I'm doing something on steroids. I'm going to Turkey in March. I put $100 down. I'm getting me a complete executive physical over there. So, because you've been through all the surgeries I've had and everything like that over there. And I'm doing an executive so I can get checked from head to toe, and I can build from there. And you also said a colonoscopy. I did 2 of them in my 30s. and everything like that. So
That's being on top of it.
yes, sir. So I'm not going to hijack the program. I just wanted to tell you some things that you said that that hit home and everything like that. So I'm not playing about this, and I just for you particularly, look, before I get off of here and land my plane, I just want to say thank you because look, we got to be honest. Like you do. We don't have another platform, so every time I get on here, I don't. It's like I always treat it like it's the first time and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Because this is, when you learn how to respect a person, I learned respect here, and and that's why you said discipline. That's very important because look, you don't have to have us interact with you. You could just say what you have to say, and then just call it a night.
Yeah, but that's what I felt it was missing. I'm the only program that has really kept that up consistently all this time. It's very, very rare on the internet to do that, but that's because I felt then, and I still do now, I don't even feel it, I know, that it's important for you all to be given a voice at that because, number one, it prevents me from just assuming what you all think. It prevents that from happening, and then when you hear from other people, that gives your sense of community, but it also gives your sense of communication. And it's not filtered through other people. It's not a Cliff Notes version. This is you all speaking for yourselves, which most other people don't give you an opportunity to do. But thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. Let me see if I can try Anna one more time. If Anna's still having issues, we're going to have to see about moving on here. We'll see if she can unmute herself. Okay, Anna, see if you can unmute yourself, ma'am. We'll try to do that one time. If you have like earbuds in or something, you might want to take those off. If you have earbuds or something, sometimes that causes issues, but it should be telling you how to unmute yourself, ma'am. Okay, Anna, I can give you a few more seconds here. I don't know what the issue is.
Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you now. Turn off your speakers, ma'am.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, Anna, we can hear you.
Okay, great. I was calling in because this was a great sermon and eulogy. And I used to be a personal trainer, and my twin sister was one of those, she did like fitness competitions in like Las Vegas and stuff like that. So, and my other sister used to do marathons and like, whatever other things, get ourselves healthy. And we come from like the Big Back family in like Eastern North Carolina where, a lot of our family members are big girls. I'm 5'2", like 120. At one time, I let myself balloon up to like 150, but I lost that at like 30 pounds.
I'm going to say, let me say something here right quick, ma'am. Going forward here, we come up with pet terms to conceal other things, and then folks have adopted them, and then they become coping mechanisms. So we started coming up with all kinds of words to make it less hurtful, I suppose, or painful for the fat girls. So we started letting them call themselves thick. And then if we did allow fat in, now we say big. Big is height. 7'4" is big. These chicks I suppose they count as big too, but they big and huge and round. So it sounds like a little bit. Big. It's a more diplomatic thing to say big, but it's like, we're the fat girls.
Oh, they were very big, fat. Yes, the skin behind the knees and stuff like that, and under the elbows, big. That kind of.
Yeah, her upper arms look like thighs, like that. So yes.
Yeah, I come from that kind of family, but like I said, I'm petite. If you want to blame it on genetics, I'm like, okay, well, I don't look anything like that. I'm petite. So
no, it's not genetics. There's no such thing as big bone. Tell her go get an X-ray, and it will show her what her size her bones are. You the same size bones as every other chick. The problem is the problem with the big bones is at the drive-through at Popeyes. That's the big bones you dealing with. But no, your bone. If you get an X-ray, your bones look exactly the same. And it's really a pernicious thing because black women lead in all these, comorbidities, all these negative things. It hits black women more, but the culture is messed up, man. The culture is messed up, and what they're holding themselves to is a problem. That I'm just going to say it straight. Too many black women do not have a problem sabotaging and hurting other black women. They don't have a problem being a terrible influence on other black women and encouraging their dysfunctions. That's the thing right there that's really got to change. And it starts with you.
Well, like I said, I'm saying I'm a personal trainer, so I'm petite. And so I'm like, this, you can say it's genetic, but it's personal choices I made. And they can make the same choices. And I was just going to say to your audience, the reason why I'm petite is it is just coming from like a personal trainer's perspective. It's like, first of all, you got to find things you like doing. You like eating. There are a lot of healthy things out there, whether it's like food or exercise. I have some strange habits. People like, oh, I can't eat, bread or pasta or rice or something because of the carbohydrates. I eat it all the damn time. And I don't gain weight like that because I also walk, I ride my bicycle, and also found that I used to be a swimmer.
But do you realize what you're saying about all those things? I want everybody to understand what the real thing is. The real thing there is everything you just named. I go biking and swimming and walking and jogging. That's outdoor activities. We need folk to get out the damn house because everybody's activities, you say, is sedentary. Yeah, they're sedentary and they're still at home. So it's one thing if they're just doing that at the job. They're going home and it's more of the same. They're sitting at the job and they go home, sit at the kitchen table. They don't go anywhere. That's the thing that's missing in society. Once again, California, Florida, New York, they give you places to go. They give you places to go and places to walk around. And in other places in America, we don't really have that. These urban city landscapes, you drive everywhere, and walking is really something that's not encouraged or is feasible. You go through Atlanta, you're going up all these hills, you'll get a workout in downtown Atlanta, that's for damn certain. But getting out of the house and doing things, I believe the biggest issue with people in this regard is that they have lives that are boring. They have a boring life and they can just do it all sitting right where they are. So they go to Instagram to get action and excitement. They go to television to get action and excitement. And in reality, the biggest action and excitement would be them walking outside their front door. I don't give a damn if it's just going to the forest or whatever. Getting up and walking, doing anything other than just sitting at home. They don't have a hobby. They don't have any vocation. They don't have something that they do. What they do is get on the cell phone, get on the computer, get into bed, rinse and repeat. People are missing having an activity, something that they do other than just looking at a cell phone. You get that together and that changes things. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, I was going to say also one of the other things I used to do that I used to get out of control with as far as activity wise, old school, I'm from the 90s, used to go to the roller rinks. I had some Mach 5 skates that I just got like a couple of years ago, and I used to get my headphones on, and it was like I was in a roller rink. I'm only going to do this for 30 minutes outside. Next thing you know, I'm out there for an hour. And it's like hour and a half just going at it with the music and just twirling and doing all the stuff. We see people in Atlanta, go to the roller rink, older people. It's like sometimes you just got to find something you do, you actually enjoy doing to get your workout on. Some people don't want to just walk. I'm certainly not going to go jogging because I definitely ain't go jog nowhere. I only run if there's an emergency, but I find other little things to do. And I think a lot of people need to find, something they actually physically enjoy doing. Like with me, specifically, it was swimming and roller skating. That's something I could do any day of the week. If you tell me like, hey, you want to go swim? Oh, yes. You want to go roller skate? Oh, yes. And I'll be at it all day. And I just want people to find something that they actually really do enjoy doing physically. And it's not, there's something you can always find something you physically enjoy doing.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you lack expression, when you're just repeating your parents' lives, when you are not making a mark of your own, get out there and go find something you enjoy doing. Sitting in front of a cell phone for your life, that's not having a life. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, sister. We appreciate that. Let me see if we can get Daryl up here on Zoom. I got a bunch of folks here on Zoom, but everybody just sit tight. I'll get to everybody who's on here, assuming it doesn't go way too long, but I'll get to everybody who's on here. Let me see if I can get Daryl up here first on Zoom. All right, Daryl, what's on your mind?
Hey, good evening, Jason. Thank you very much for having me. First off, we'd like to send our regards to Brother Voltron there. I remember when I first heard him there, and Wow. I remember he just got his CDL for driving a truck. And then a couple of years later on, I came on before he did, when he was doing your regular Q&A. And he said some powerful stuff. He liked what I said, but I like what he said. I even put it down there in the chat. And it was powerful. And this broadcast really has to be, this is powerful right here, Jason. And we appreciate that. I thank you all the time for what you done for my nephews when y'all did the tech thing that was going on there. That was excellent for them to hear that and see that and be a part of that. And then they came out there to New York when you had the event out there. I was trying to get out there, but I made sure they got out there. At least somebody from the family represented. But the bottom line, man, you've been 10 toes down. And this health thing you're talking about is powerful. Me personally, as a former athlete, I always take 2 physicals every year. Every year. It's religious. And some of my friends say, why are you taking 2 physicals, man? You take 2 physicals, you better make sure you know what's going on with your body. You ain't got one, you ain't got another spare one in the closet. So I keep that going, do my exercises every day. I get out and I walk, I jog, and I still make sure that I even chase the dog a little bit. But the bottom line, I get out as much as I can, 5 days a week, exercising. And I also go back, do blood work. And I've done an MRI like about a month and a half ago. It's funny you mentioned that. I did a complete MRI. And I'm doing some blood work 2 weeks from now. So again, I just want to say thank you for sharing that with us. And you and the Black media itself, it's been powerful.
Don't think you're okay. Know you're okay.
Yes, sir.
Very important. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. We appreciate that. Let me get Black Powder Podcast up here on Zoom right quick. Black Powder Podcast, let me go ahead and get you up here right quick. Everybody, make sure you're looking at your Zooms now. So when I click on you, we can go ahead and get you on up in here. Some of these folks might have been on there. Then again, they might be running around the house making some toast. So Black Powder Podcast, I can give you 5 more seconds. Then we got to move on.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, brother, what's on your mind?
Just wanted to say thank you. I needed that aspect because the last couple of years haven't exactly been easy for me, financially, relationship-wise, everything else. Pretty much trying to get past from losing out on a whole lot of stuff, man. And especially from divorce, because I'm paying like a lot of money financially. It's hard, but I really needed that. And yeah. Nah, good, appreciate it. And yeah, definitely shout out to Black Veterans family too, because losing a loved one isn't exactly the easiest thing to do. Lost my grandmother this year, so I get it. Long story short, thank you. Trying to make some changes to this really inspired me because I think I kind of just gave up on my life and I'm trying to get it back together.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. We appreciate that. And look, I know things happen. Stuff happens, man. But then again, that's life. Things happen. It takes you off your square. You got to get back on that. The major part of life is adapting to the curveballs and the changes and the blows. That's the major part of life. Not what happens to you, but how you respond to it. So tough things will occur. I get it. I understand it. I'm not going to blame you for getting knocked down. You get taken off your square. I get that. The real question is how you get back up. Let me go ahead and see if we can get Mr. Bolden up here on Zoom. I thought I saw my man James on Zoom here for a minute, but let me go ahead and see if we can get Mr. Bolden up here on Zoom. Okay, folks, make sure y'all are monitoring your Zoom tonight. All right, Mr. Bolden, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Mr. Bolden. You're still muted.
Hey, sir, how you doing?
All right, brother, what's on your mind?
Yes, sir. I'll be done on 3. One, I do want to send my condolences out to the brother Black Voltron. It's amazing. Last time I talked to you, it was on a broadcast that you did about brother O.J. Simpson, and I called right after him and gave him his flowers and shouted him out. I barely even know him, but I used to hear him talk on the broadcast. Used to hear him, call up treatment sheets, faces, and he sound like a real live dude. And no pun intended. I mean, it's any no harm or no foul, but he is literally just hearing them, a last of a dying breed of real men. And much, rest and power to him. And number two, it is very crucial to have your health in order. Health is wealth. Our people, we gotta get up off of social medias, get up, stop looking at our cell phones so much. Also, I was hammering this earlier in the chat, but we gotta get used to stop celebrating holidays so much. We can't find an excuse to be celebrating stuff, and we got a lot of work to do. Even Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. teach that we shouldn't be celebrating really for nothing.
Well, we certainly need to make sure that we're valid for doing so. We have a lot of serious stuff going on, a lot of seriousness to take care of. And certainly, I mean, like I say, we might have one day a year, but even then it needs to be something that's earned. That's the difference. We need to have something that's earned. If you're going to celebrate, even if you're going to do that, it better be something that you earn. It's not just, oh, well, it's the 15th of June. Let me go ahead and we celebrate. It's like, no, we need to start having something that's worth celebrating that is actually a product of what we've done. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. We appreciate that. Let me get Tyrus up here on Zoom right quick. Let me get Tyrus. I see everybody else who's up here right quick. Y'all just hang tight. All right, Tyrus, what's on your mind?
Yeah, brother, I was hearing you talk about being from Louisiana. I'm from Louisiana too. And I work at these hospitals. And brother, don't you know, like these hospitals, they don't really give you a lot of healthy options.
No, they don't. Let me tell y'all, I mean, the hospitals, Louisiana is one of the worst places you could possibly be for medical care unless you got shot. Yeah. Now, I will say that LSU is a level 1 trauma center. So if you've been shot, LSU is the place you want to be. If you've been shot, if you've been stabbed, LSU got you covered. If you're just sick or have a chronic illness, you'll die in that place. I mean, you'll die with an appointment. You'll die with an appointment, much less an ER. And that's the way it is for us. So we have to be proactive because we ain't like the white folk. We can't just go to the ER and we okay. It's you go in the ER, man, you might as well went to the parking lot of Circle K. You might as well have went there because you're on your own, man. Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, none of them have any medical institutions of excellence. None of them. If you can make it to Alabama, maybe. If you can make it to Florida, you're doing a lot better. If you need regular health care, you're going to have to all the way out or to Texas, either Texas or Florida. But if you're in Louisiana, you're in the desert. You will die in this place.
Yeah, brother. And it's just like even when you talk about health to other people in Louisiana, it's kind of like they laugh at that type of stuff. Like it's almost like, oh, you work out or you eat healthy. It's almost like a joke to them.
Brother, they've resigned themselves to their fate. I mean, when you speak about fitness, that's a foreign language. So we have to be honest. Can we just be real? A lot of these people have resigned themselves to their fate. A lot of them 23 years old, size 25, and hoping for a peaceful death. Now, where's she learned that at 25 years old? Who put that in her head at 25 years old that your life expectancy should be about that right there and eat yourself into it? Who put that in her head? A bunch of hoes a lot older than her. It's like, baby, they lived their lives. You haven't even started yours. Don't take any hints from them. They're just talking you into a grave because they wasted their time. You have the opportunity to do better. But yeah, brother, they've resigned themselves to their fate in a lot of ways. So when they see you talking differently or moving different, it's just real weird to them because they've already given up on the idea that you can make it.
Yeah. It's almost like being in that movie, Idiocracy. You ever seen that movie? It's almost been like that when you start talking about health around there.
Yeah, people speaking a weird language and everything is this real stupid and strange, and they kind of get it, but they really don't. You know,
Yeah.
and it would be different if it wasn't life and death. This would be different if it wasn't life and death. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. We appreciate that. Let me see if I can get Brother Sage up here on Zoom right quick. Let me see if I can get Sage up here. All right, Brother Sage, what's on your mind?
Brother Black, first of all, B1, how are you, brother?
Good night, brother. What's on your mind?
I'm good, I'm good. So first of all, I want to say condolences to brother Black Voltron Reloaded. Definitely condolences to his family. And if I may, brother, I want to do something a little bit different today because when you were speaking, you spoke to me, and I may not like you said, you never know what's gonna happen in the near future. So when we had a conversation, if I may, when we had a conversation in Albany, I told you that you set me on a different path in life, and I never really got to thank you for that. Now, what what I would definitely ask of you, if you can, is allow the family. You have my permission to show me to the family because I want to show not just you something, but them something. So
Okay,
that makes
well,
sense.
you have to give me a moment then. You're talking about you want to be
Sure.
on screen so folks can see you.
Absolutely.
Okay, give me just a moment here. Let me see if I can get that up for you. There you go.
So I closed on my first house the other week, and I wanted to tell you thank you personally. And not just thank you, I want to show you what you inspired from this young man that came from Brooklyn, New York, the hood. And as you see, I don't have no kids, no wife. It's just me, myself, and I for right now. And I want to let you know that what you say does not fall on deaf's ears. And everything that you've taught throughout the years, we're gonna go downstairs now. Everything that you've taught throughout the years, I've taken to heart. And sometimes, you don't get to give people like it's the garage. Sometimes you don't get to give people like their flowers when they're here to smell them. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to show you what you've inspired, a man that lives thousands of miles away from you, that is probably half your age, but you didn't meet until recently. I wanted to show you what you did for me. And I wanted to say thank you. And this is coming from, again, from extremely genuine place. I want you to know that every day, like you said, we have to live it like it's our last. And it's always important to do something that we are, we look at as a challenge. So again, I wanted to thank you again for everything that you taught me, all the motivation and inspiration that you've given me. And I will pay that forward as you told me in person. You told me to pay that forward, not pay it back. So I thank you for that. And I definitely will. I agree to pay that forward to you. And I will definitely do that. So again, I want to say my condolences to the family of Black Voltron Reloaded. Heart goes out to him. Prayers goes out to him. But I also want to thank you for everything because I would not have known that, brother, had it not been for you. So I wanted to thank you as well for everything that you do for the family that you don't have to do. And please, just like you taught me, continue to inspire and teach other people. Teach them about fitness, teach them about finances. I know that's probably another broadcast, or another channel, I would say. But again, it does not fall on deaf's ears. And I wanted to show you something that was concrete, something that was tangible that I've been able to do with your teaching. So again, Black first to you, brother, and much love always. And I look forward to having you and Sam over sometime so we could definitely chop up game.
Well, brother, I'm humbled that you would I'm humbled. That's about the most I can say right now. Like the chandeliers, but that I was not expecting that. I will say that I was not expecting what I just saw. But I started this doing what I do here 2 decades ago because I say it all the time. It's like a broken record, but it's the point of it. I wanted to create a repository of knowledge and information and somebody you all could ask that I wish had been there when I was your age. When I was your age, I wish there had been somebody I could call who I wouldn't have needed 10 minutes of his time. I didn't have anybody to even do that with. So, and I've realized that keeping you all away from information is the policy of the society, to tell you absolutely nothing. And do you realize how far down you can hold people when the policy is don't let them know anything? So I'm humbled, brother. You know, if you've got a lot you can make of it now, and you're at a point in life where you can actually use it, and you got a lot of runway in front of you, which is the best part about it. You all getting a hold of this when you still got a lot of runway in front of you. And it'll be amazing to see where you're at in 10 years. If this is where you are now, wait till we see where you're at in 10 years. Thank you very much, brother, for checking in with us. You'll be hearing from me.
Yes, sir.
Maybe that'll be my legacy. Maybe that'll be mine. So Brother Prince had asked me earlier about, what would happen after that, who would pick it up after me. I told him, I said, all of you. When I was asked about that, I said, all of you. All of you. Let me go ahead and get Akeem up here on the Zoom right quick. Hi, Akeem, what's on your mind?
What's going on, Jason? I just want to pay my respect to Black Voltron and to the Black family. I was just talking to my partner today, you've been like my intellectual father, and the game that you break down is like sound. Anybody can follow it. Like you said, if you have any problems, call in. But you're talking about the topic of health and how it's so important. I just went and got a MRI, and I've been having AFib for the last 10 years, not even knowing, and it's caused me to be a lot more lethargic in my actions. And I didn't even know, because they were telling me I can get a Social Security check. I've been working this whole time with the deficient heart, but just everybody out there, just, if you have the means, or you can go somewhere and get checked up, go get checked up, know what you're putting in your body. I use this app called Yuka. When you go to the store and buy food, if you're not buying, like Jason's saying, food in the outside aisles, you're eating processed food that's not good for you. They're not preserving your body. So I think the more you know what you need to put in your body and not put in your body. But I think this should be a topic that you talk about frequently, because in our community, health is not it's a joke to a lot of people. And like my aunt, she always used to be like, "Oh, you're too serious about your health, X, Y, and Z. I'm just gonna pray for my food." And I'm like, if you're eating McDonald's and praying for it, I understand you praying for it, but still, you got to be more conscious of what you're putting in your body. So
brother, how old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay. For you millennials and Gen Z and whatnot, I need y'all to understand something. One of the things that I hope I've established making the Black channel is that you all have some perspective on some of the silliness you hear.
Yeah.
Y'all are in a lot of circles with a lot of people who have just made silliness into their conventional wisdom. You talking about the real concrete world. That woman's talking about praying. The Bible says faith without works is dead. And she's talking about, well, don't worry, I'm going to eat poison and pray to God everything's okay. That's not even smart. Mm-hmm. She cannot show you what book of the Bible told you that was the procedure.
Exactly.
So a lot of you are surrounded by silliness. It's all you've ever heard. It's the only thing that gets recirculated and recycled in the family. And y'all got to move different. So that's why tonight, I can't do it every week.
Mm-hmm.
But on programs tonight, I'm saying stuff that people don't ordinarily hear. Everybody in here has heard of an MRI. Most of them didn't know. By the way, you can go get one your own. Well, what do I need for one for? I haven't had a car accident. It can find a lot more than that. It can find a lot more than that. So telling these things right here, here's how you can go get yourself checked out and on your own, because that's what I mean. A lot of y'all don't understand. A lot of your family members, man, they've just given up. They've just resigned themselves to their fate. And that's why I gave you that phrase, brother, she's looking for a peaceful death.
Right.
Your auntie, she just looking and she just hope when it's time to go, it don't hurt too much, and she's ready to go. I'm like, okay, but your nephew's 32. He ain't. That's not where he at.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his whole life in front of him with a woman here talking about he can stop any day now. No, it ain't. No, he needs to take care of himself. He might have some issues to deal with, but what she's giving you is not a plan to succeed. That's a plan to go.
Hey, I definitely want to say that, like, my mom, she had colon cancer and she passed away. But in her
How old was she?
She was 60, 62. She's battled for a while, for a long time. But it really was just like when you're that far into your life, like in your 30, in your 40s and 50s, and you're dealing with cancer and you have habits of, eating processed foods. It was really just a battle of like, if you're going to eat the processed foods, you're going to live a shorter life, and if you're going to eat the whole foods, you're going to have a better life. And that's how she got into Dr. Sebi. I remember one time we went to the doctor's office, and they were like, "Hey, get your affairs in order. It's a wrap. Like, you're about to die. You got like 6 months." And one of the nurses pulled her aside and was like, "Hey, I'm not even supposed to tell you this, but there's like a protocol, the paleo protocol, where you can eat, whole foods. But the hospitals and stuff, they don't recommend that." And she did that, and it turned her whole life around and gave her an extra 10 years of life. But that brought me to the knowledge of going to school for agriculture, and then realizing, just because you're eating good vegetables, that's not good enough. Does those vegetables come from healthy soil? If it's not coming from healthy soil, then you're not really eating really good food, So getting people back to the roots, like, hey, we gotta get some land, and we gotta work it.
We have to be very, very vigilant about that, because this society is not taking care of us. This taking care of us is anathema to this society's policy. They have a policy of removing us. If they can get rid of you today, great. If they can strangle you and you wither on the vine, well, that's the fallback position. But their goal is that one way or another, you're removed, period.
Mm-hmm.
And don't have any babies and won't be the next generation. And the next thing you know, it took them a couple hundred years, but they have solved the, quote, black problem.
Mm-hmm.
And everything they tell us is not meant for our benefit. Thank you very much for calling in, brother. We appreciate that. All right, let me get over here on the line. We got Barrister here on the line. Unmute yourself, Barrister. What's on your mind?
Thanks for having me on. You're spitting a whole lot of truth. I mean, you're saying a whole lot of truth. And again, condolences to Black Voltron. I just want to say is that you place a huge emphasis on health. However, I think you're also missing that one of the biggest factors of health in terms of Black people is stress. I mean, it's like the silent killer. And one of the main contributors to stress among Black men are the women in general. Basically, you just basically stated that Black Voltron, he had a daughter and he was going through a huge custody battle with their baby mama. So I just want to know, why do you think, again, and this also goes back to your show on the business yesterday in regards to Ayesha Curry, and you said something that was mainly key. You shouldn't go after women who think that they're better than you. And I think that's very common among Black men. They often go after women who think that they're better than them, and just living with these women, having relationships with these women, it causes them a whole lot of stress. So why do you think first off, maybe my question to you is that, why do you think it's a cultural thing that so many Black women think that they're better than Black American men? Because again,
as far as the stress component is concerned, that's a very real thing. And as Black men in America, we've kind of just resigned ourselves to that's just a part of the landscape, and we kind of just have to tolerate it and have to incorporate that into ourselves, and we have to just be tougher than the stress is. However, and any doctor will tell you this, the problem with stress is that stress releases a whole bunch of bad hormones and chemicals in the body that cumulatively over time do a bunch of bad things. It causes inflammation. So this is not a matter of guessing or conjecture. This is not superstition. This is something you can actually see in blood work. You can actually see it. So managing that, and everybody, a lot of people have gotten rich in this country by pushing off their work and their efforts on us. So we end up carrying the burdens that make other people's lives easier at our own expenses. So we end up being these beasts of burden. And so stress is a very, very important thing. The other thing is that stress also impacts quality of life. So it's not just health, it also impacts quality of life. Having those things around you, you're doing a bunch of work. If there's no gratitude, there's no respect, that kind of environment robs you of the value of what you're doing. So
100%.
in addition to giving you heart issues, it can also give you hell issues on a daily basis. As Black men, that's why empowerment for us is so important, so that we can get people out of our faces who are not benefiting us and are not contributing. We can get people out of our lives and out of our mix who are not supposed to be there and are causing issues. When a man doesn't have his life together, he just got to stick with every female he got because he doesn't have options. If you have your life together, you got options. And you have the ability to tell her, you know what, you ain't with the program. You're more of a liability than a benefit. You're causing more problems than you solve. You got to go. And also not to fall into the trap that we're here to unite with everyone, because there's another problem. The idea that you're here to make nice with everyone, the idea that you're here to reconcile with everybody, the idea that you're here to get everybody straight. As Black men, we need to do a lot more cutting off is what we need to do. We need to do a lot more cutting off, a lot more severing, and trying to be the saviors of the world, because that's the other side of that. Oh, Black men are so phenomenal. Look at them in sports and this, that, and the other. The other side of that coin, however, is the assumption that we're so spectacular that we're also supposed to be here to save the world. Even if we were capable of that, that comes at a tremendous cost. And what ends up, please understand, everybody talks about their heroes in history, but you realize when they talk about John Henry, the story of John Henry, this is the only hero who dies on his way to getting something done. So everybody else can do that, unless you talk about Davy Crockett, and then again he dies at the Alamo, so you're martyred. John Henry, the Black man, he works himself to death. Yep. So that's more of a story of how the world sees us, and that this is your rightful place and purpose. And we have to see ourselves as better. That's not what you're talking about. That's not something they're going to give us. Either we take that for ourselves and we say we are going to define those boundaries, and the people around us have to be a benefit to us as we are a benefit to them, or we have to just cut folks off. And it doesn't matter whether we've known you since grade school. It doesn't matter whether we've known you in college. If you become a liability for our own health and well-being, we got enough stuff against us externally. We don't need to be inviting that up under the roof. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me see if I can get Cam up here on Zoom right quick. Let me see if we can get Cam up here on Zoom. Where's Cam at? All right, there you go, Cam. What's on your mind?
Hey, how's it going, Jason?
All right, Cam, what's on your mind?
Okay, I think there's like a double loop around. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you just fine.
Okay, great. Okay, so I just wanted to give you your flowers as well. And I wanted to ask you, because I've been dying to ask you, what can I do or others from a grassroots standpoint for the Carmelo Anthony case? I live now here in Texas. I'm a transplant, like maybe 15 minutes away from the incident.
Well, I talked to his father. I talked to his dad. Now, I have to be limited in what I say, but I have talked to his father. I will say that. They're doing some things down there and stuff. One of the things they've done is there's a gag order. So
I read about
yeah,
that.
they really been doing some stuff down there. So one of the things they've issued is a gag order. In my opinion, that's not to be helpful. But so there's a lot going on that matter. But I have been talking to them. I have kept in touch with them on that regard. Obviously, they've been ganging up on some things. So I'm talking to some other people now. And that's something in particular that I'm dealing with. So why don't you send me an email? You can just send me an email with your phone number. And like I say, if anything comes up there, I can definitely be in touch for you there. But you have my email address, theblackauthority@yahoo.com. You can just send me that to me there. But yes, I am aware, and I've been in touch with them there. So there's some
Okay.
more things that are happening
Can I
here, but right
add
now
one
we're just
thing?
kind of waiting.
Sure. Can I add one last thing?
Yes.
Okay, so in terms of like grassroots stuff, like mothers of children that this could potentially happen to, or people who are concerned, like, are left feeling shaken at night. Like, could this happen to my kid? Because my son, I have a son, and he's pro-black. He is not gonna let anyone disrespect him. I could see something like that happening to my son, and I saw that in the case, and I'm wondering what can I do from like the very basics of stuff. I don't need to
Well,
be,
here's the thing I want
acclimates
you
and
all
this
to
and
be
that.
aware of.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that happened here. I'm simply saying I want you all to be aware of this. You have a lot of folks who are going to try to feed you the misconceptions that being in a non-black neighborhood, non-black school or whatever, majority white neighborhood, majority white school, you got it made, everything's great and everything's fine. And you don't have to worry about some of those inner city problems or whatever. And then cases like this pop up and you realize, these folks are not, they are no less hostile to your children. So you have your eye on, if I can get away from black folk, we'll be okay. And like I say, I'm not saying that's necessarily what happened here. I'm just saying we kind of make the assumption that in a lot of cases, folk make the assumptions if their kids are in a white neighborhood, a white school, oh, you've escaped because, well, the news tells you best thing you can do for your kids is get away from a black neighborhood, and then you do it, and oh, what do you know? Here you are. So the first thing I want y'all to be aware of there is that the parents have to set the tone for this. It is your responsibility to know your city. It is your responsibility to know your neighborhoods, not your kids. It's your responsibility. You ain't supposed to march them off in neighborhoods, schools, and places that are obviously hostile to black folk. And you like, well, let me take my chances because just being, I'm just being deadly honest.
Tone. I beg to differ.
Okay.
I become more militant than not.
Okay, well,
so
slow
I'm
down.
a threat to white people.
Well, slow down for a moment. Slow down. But my point is, that people don't take those things into account. Those are where you get hit from the blind side, is when you start making assumptions. So when you make the assumption, it's okay, I got it made, we're safe. That's usually when folks get caught off guard.
So I don't know who's doing that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are different things there are different
It's,
things you can think that you're safe from, though. There are different things you can think you're safe from.
Yeah,
So
I never feel
just
safe
because
around
you're at a magnet school, a private school, a gated community, HOA or whatever, there's a number of different things. Remember Trayvon Martin and his family.
Right.
So there's a number of different ways that can happen. So number one, you have to be aware of where you are and where you're at. You can't take anything for granted. You cannot assume that the neighborhood or the city is looking out for you in any way, shape, form, or fashion or capacity. You must assume that they're going to try something. You must assume that you're on hostile ground because you are. You must assume that you need to keep an eye on your kids. And by kids, I mean until they're 19, 20. You have to keep an eye on them because doing anything else is assuming that the society is safe or that they will take care of them. This goes for your daughters and for your sons. You need to be aware of where they are. A black male may feel like, quote unquote, he can handle himself. What he does not understand is that when they come at you, they ain't going to come at you one-on-one. That's not what they're going to do. As his parent, you have to be aware and cognizant and stick to that. So you need to know where he is, where they're at, so that you can manage them. And so that you are aware of that. And eventually they'll be at a point where they can do that themselves. But as long as they're minors, they're under your supervision in that way. So you have to be command and control. You have to know those things. You have to know your city. You have to know your neighbors. And by that, I mean, you need to know who these people are. Right. Y'all need to go take a look at them and Google.
Got mad at me because once I got their name, not to cut your wisdom, that I was like, "Hey, Susan. Hey, Jim." Every time I see them. Because not that I want to be friends.
I don't
them,
know if that's a good
I need
idea.
them to know that I'm here.
I don't know that I would. I don't know if I would tip them off that you're.
I don't tip them off.
Like well, I'm not. I don't know if I would tip them off that you're aware. Because, like I say, I don't even know. I just mean know your neighbors. I don't mean you necessarily even have to talk to them. To be totally honest, because here's the thing: talking to your neighbors, you learn about them, but they learn about you.
No, I say hi and goodbye. We're on the set of a movie. That's how I treat it. Like,
oh, okay.
And scene and action. And then when it's done, it's done. We
right.
don't have to go into detail. Yeah.
Well, you have to be, my thing is to be hyper vigilant That's the number one thing, is to be
exactly.
hyper vigilant and don't take anything for granted and assume that everybody has done something or they're waiting for their opportunity to do something. If you handle everybody that way, there's no way you can be surprised because you already were moving as if there was just a matter of time before they made a bad move. So 90% of the battle is taking away their ability
And
to
I'm so
flip
glad that you
things another
said
way.
that because I don't think that a lot of our people move like that. We want to be, well, some of us, not we, as in me, want to be liked so badly or acclimate so badly that we forget all of what you just said not to do.
Well,
Like, I've
most
never
people, most
forgotten
black folk want to get to a point where they feel like they're safe, and that becomes the issue, is looking for that safety. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Let me see if I can get grind time up here right quick. Let me see if we can get grind time up here. All right, we got my man grind time. Where you at? Okay.
Quick, let me see if we can get grind time up here.
All right, turn off your speakers for me, brother.
All right, we got my man grind time. Where you at?
Right here.
Okay, quick, let me see if we can get.
All right, y'all. This is.
Turn off your speakers for me, brother.
I think this is my man James.
Just did. Hey, JB.
All right, brother. Is this James?
Jamel.
All right, brother. What's on your mind, brother?
Hey, man, I want to give us my condolences out to my comrade, Black Voltron. First and foremost, I had to jump on.
You and him go back way back. You and him go back with me way back. So y'all don't know who's I'm on the line with here, but me and this brother here, we go way back in this regard here. So he's really one of my day two people, because I've lost most of my day one people, but he's one of my day two people.
Yeah, for sure, man. And hey, your influence is what brought us together, brother, in all honesty, and I'm feeling some kind of way because we are in close proximity. I thought he was out of Oakland, but I'm hearing he was out of San Francisco. And I'm out of San Francisco. But I'm feeling a little some kind of way because when you talk about, family, you guys became my family when I ran into you. When I came across your broadcast with the Housing Authority hustle. And that's how I met Black Voltron. And I don't know what kind of influence I may have had I been a bit more vigilant and connecting with the family. And I know you stress that, like, man, y'all got to know where y'all people are, who your people are, and stay in contact with them. And this is what I'm reflecting on right now. And I'm thinking, man, I'm a guy, I haven't ate fast food in 2 decades. You know what I mean? I do what I do the best that I can with what I have. And even as a quadriplegic, I get up every day and I still cook catfish. I still do certain habits. I adapted, and I was able to afford that because when I ran across your broadcast, I stopped stockpiling tennis shoes. And I start putting my coins in places that's going to give me, a quality of life that's really about something. And that probably would have rubbed off on him, because I talk about, yeah, man, I got this doctor, but I'm getting rid of her. I don't like her energy. I don't like her vibe. But I have a great urologist that gives me more insight on my 6-month visit with her on my bone density and my age. And hey, I need you to up your vitamin D, Jamel. I mean, your blood work looks good, but you over 50, plus you're in the chair, you sitting a lot. You don't want to get up one day and your hip go out. And I'm like, right, what's next? I'm up on my stuff. And
think about this for a few moments, brother. Governor Greg Abbott of Texas is in a wheelchair, and he makes it his goal to give us hell every damn day of the year. He don't take a break. He don't take a day off. He don't do nothing. He's just a 24/7 machine. That wheelchair ain't slowed him down one bit for going after black folks. So he's found his purpose in life.
He found his purpose. Yeah. And I found mine here, man. And yeah, it don't stop. It don't change, whatever your situation is. I would say I value the broadcast. I value JB. I value what he's brought to the table. I value the brother that called in and showed what the trajectory of what his life has been since coming in contact. And I felt that because it happened to me. I changed everything. Yeah, I may have looked the same on the outside, but I didn't think the same at all. I thought I was doing good, and I found out I was just doing good, but that I could do great. I can do better. I can be my best through the broadcast. And connecting with Black Voltron on here by name, by association, by energy, and all that really meant something. I wasn't going to let tonight go by, JB, without me tapping in, man, and giving my brother his flowers, man. So I'm not going to hold you up anymore. I just want to echo that to you, that I don't call in much, but since I've been on, I've been good, man. I've been good. I've been consciously, spiritually, I've been good. I've been more aware, more accepting, and more strong as a result of it. So I just need to give you your flowers, give my man his flowers. Peace and blessings, JB. Love you, bro.
Thank you very much for checking in, brother. I appreciate that. And like I say, I may have more to say on that in a minute here. I might have more to say on that. Let me see if I can get let me get Melissa up here on Zoom right quick. There you go. All right, Melissa, what's on your mind? Unmute yourself. All right, she's confounded by this newfangled technology. Unmute yourself, ma'am.
Sorry.
There you go. All right, what's on your mind?
So I was just calling and just to kind of give the family some information on like patient advocate. See for yourself when you're healthy, when you're not healthy, and what to do. Because I was diagnosed with cancer in 2017. It was not genetic. I lived in Sonia Quarters when I was young in Louisiana, so it was probably environmental. I didn't have to have radiation or chemo, so I had a surgery, but I kept having pain, and everybody was telling me that it was something else.
Yeah, when you're black, they minimize everything. So especially when you're a black female and you start expressing pains, here we go with the, oh, it ain't nothing serious. That's just the default answer. They don't even look at anything. They just tell you, it's nothing serious.
So I ended up having an emergency surgery because I had a ovarian torsion.
Oh, wow. What do you know? It was nothing turned out to be something serious. What do you know?
So know your patient rights. Everybody know your patient rights and the HIPAA laws. Okay. I was in the military, so I couldn't really do anything about it. But something else happened. I later had fertility treatment, because of that. And I had another instance where the doctor shunned me away. I had ovarian hyperstimulation of my only ovary, and I was in pain. My blood pressure was high. So everyone, make sure that you understand.
Do you have any children?
You should have.
Let me find out here, Melissa. Let me find out here. Do you have any children?
I do. I have one son.
Okay, because that's another thing right there is black females. When they see an opportunity to attack your reproductive organs, they're going to start pitching hysterectomies and let me take them fallopian tubes for you. Oh, let me get them ovaries while I'm at it. All of a sudden, it becomes that for black women. All of a sudden, the only answer is, let me get this uterus out of you right quick. That becomes the answer to every damn thing.
So that was one thing that was an issue. They were definitely attacking my reproductive rights, and that's what I call reproductive rights. So request all your records at any appointment and have somebody that is knowledgeable, if you can, that has medical terminology, medical knowledge with you at appointments, because they will try to not listen to you. They will try to overtalk you. They will be condescending, and don't be afraid to fire them and replace them. get somebody else and get a second opinion. So with that being said, I had my child in 2022. It was Easter weekend, and I am and my son are living proof of Black maternal morbidity and mortality, because they overdosed me in Pitocin, and they also did not give me a C-section when my son was in distress. So he suffered hypoxia. So now we're dealing with developmental issues. And then there was concealment of medical records. Please, family, know HIPAA rights. Know that you can complain. I know that it may not do much, but complain to your Health and Human Services, complain to the Office of Civil Rights. I know they don't, just put in a complaint, because the more that we complain and we advocate for ourselves, put in a complaint to the IG. If you have Medicaid, if you don't have Medicaid, whatever, put in a complaint to your IG, so that they will conceal your records. Let's just say that. And they will delete your records when you are not an advocate for yourself. And then, it's too late in some places. I live in Texas now. I cannot sue them for malpractice. So go for them in the Civil Rights Department and also IG, and waste, because they will try to even use these ICD-10 codes and tell people that, oh yeah, you're in an abusive relationship. You see that a lot. You hear that a lot. Oh, you're on drugs. Things like that, to take your children away or to disrupt your family life. So you need to know these things. You need to actually know how to understand that we know our bodies and we know our pain, and push and push and push. Keep going to the doctors. If you are a healthy person and something is off, you got to advocate for yourself. And that's all. I'm gonna land my plane right there.
May I ask?
Yes.
How are you doing now?
I was in a wheelchair in 2022 for about a year and a half. I lost the ability to walk. I am now walking. I have permanent foot drop. And I push through it, because it's systematic. A lot of doctors here know a lot of doctors, and they try to protect themselves as much as they can.
Yeah, that's the thing. Doctors tend to be like lawyers. So one of the things we as Black folk here, that's why I've really been telling you all about the real deficiency in the legal field, because lawyers look out for each other. Here's the problem. Most of your politicians are lawyers too.
Exactly.
By the way, in case you all didn't know, most of your politicians are lawyers. I'm talking about not just the federal level, the federal and the state level. So lawyers look out for lawyers. So going to the bar is difficult because lawyers look out for lawyers. Going to the medical board is difficult because doctors, the medical board is not a bunch of civilians or politicians. It's a bunch of doctors, and doctors look out for doctors. So it's really like going up against the mafia in a lot of ways right there. You're looking for an honest mafioso to go against the boss. It's real difficult. So you can get the lawyers to go against the doctors. The problem is trying to get one doctor to go against the others. That's very, very difficult.
And the lawyers will not, especially if it's a establishment that is private and they have high, what is it called? High, those lawyers that are just high, noticeably high. They pay a lot of money.
Yeah, big name lawyers with high retainers and things like that.
Yes, exactly. So the lawyers they basically say, no, you don't have a case, because they're afraid to take on those lawyers that the hospitals have.
Or the lawyers will take them on once you've gotten some serious injury, you're damn near dead.
Death.
Then they come.
Yeah.
It's got to be overwhelming. So that puts you in a precarious position. I was wondering how I really want to know about how your cancer was doing.
I had it surgically removed as a tumor.
Okay, so you had a tumor then. Okay,
it was a tumor.
So you haven't had a recurrence.
I have not, thank God.
Good.
Yeah.
That was the thing I really wanted to know about. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for checking in with us, sister. Please take care of yourself. And, just to touch on this real briefly here, you all know, I mean, ain't no way to get around. You know me when it comes to nurses. Y'all know how I am about my nurses. You know how what I do. It's I'm gonna be honest with the way nurses get down. It is what it is. But by the same token, we need competent Black nurses. We need competent Black medical professionals. I'm never going to mock somebody and try to denigrate them for being a nurse or getting into nursing. What you do during your off hours, I guess, do what you do. But I'm not going to denigrate or discourage somebody from being in that and dealing with that and being a part of that, because that's what we need. We need more nurses. We need more nurse practitioners dealing in our interests. We don't need coons and clowns. We don't need that. We need competent Black medical professionals, and we need an army of them. We definitely do. Because we walk off in these places and whatnot, and you're being handed over to a bunch of folk there who are like, okay, next victim. So we really, really need to have that. So I'm not going to discourage or demean anybody who gets into nursing, because we need that. Not just doctors. The nurses are the ones who deal with you on a regular basis. So we need all of that. We need all of that for real. So for those of you with your daughters, with your sons, those are things right there we could really use. We really, really need that. We really do. All right, let me go ahead and jump back over here and get Willie Lynch. All right, Willie, where are you at, sir? We don't see anybody. I can give you a couple of seconds here, sir. Then we're going to have to go ahead and move on. All right, there you go, sir. Turn off your YouTube, sir.
All right, there you go, sir. Turn off your YouTube, sir.
Okay, sir, what's on your mind?
All right, I'm here, bro.
Okay, sir, you're on. What's on your mind? Okay, sir, you're on. What's on your mind?
Number one, first of all, bro.
Okay, sir, you're on. What's on your mind? Okay, brother, you got speakers on or something here. Please take care of that.
Okay, I can't hear you. But
okay. Well, just go ahead and speak, sir.
But can you hear me?
Well, just go ahead and speak, sir.
Okay. But can you hear me?
Well, just go ahead and speak, sir.
Okay. Number one, I thank you.
Just go ahead and speak, sir.
For everything that you do.
Okay. Well, thank you for giving this shot, brother. We appreciate that there. We'll get somebody to see if they can. We'll get the Geek Squad to see if they can help with the speaker situation. Let me go ahead and see if I can jump back in here and get Ambrosia right quick. Let me see if we can get Ambrosia here. All right, Ambrosia, what's on your mind?
Hey, Jason, I wanted to point out, first, I want to give my condolences to Black Voltron and his family. But something that we haven't mentioned tonight when it comes to getting these tests done and making sure you're healthy. A lot of Black people have it really bad. They have these bad diets. They're not getting these tests done, and they're having babies. And one of the reasons that we have children born with so many developmental issues is because the diets are bad. The male's genes are dominant in building the placenta, and the placenta provides oxygen, it provides the nutrients, it provides the antibodies, remove waste, and your diet is bad, and this is the genes that are going into building the building blocks of building this baby. And if a mom's diet is bad, her hormone levels are bad. Each trimester, her body is supposed to give off certain hormones at each trimester. And then so if your hormones are not at the proper levels, this is how spina bifida, lungs are developed, organs are not developed properly. And so it is important. It's important that you get these genetic tests done, that you eat right, detox, do all these things to have a proper diet, because your body is the vessels that are holding and building these babies. And it's unfair to that baby. You know what I'm saying? And so we
Yeah,
want to bring
as a woman, women have to take themselves seriously as women and understand that motherhood is the highest calling for a female. And you have to take that seriously for a number of different reasons. You're talking about the baby. That's good to know as well. I mean, you definitely be on top of that. But let us please understand it's only been in the last century, really, that, you know, a woman giving birth wasn't really a death sentence across the board there. So, I mean, there was a time that, you know, as many as 25% of women would die in childbirth or have severe complications. So we've gotten a lot better about that as mankind and the civilization. But don't be deceived. When a woman gets pregnant, death is a possibility. I mean, you might have your friend who's had 7 or 8 kids. Okay, I'm glad that went well for her. But a woman getting pregnant is still to her own physical well-being, not this crazy abortion, mental well-being garbage, but to her own physical health. It's having to bear a child and whatnot. I mean, you get double the blood flow. It changes all kinds of things in your body. These are going to be massive upheavals and changes. And yes, while it is a part of your biology, it's also risky. It can be hazardous. So another reason for you being in good condition is so it lowers the possibility of complications. So you need to be in a certain amount of fitness. That makes it a whole lot healthier and a whole lot safer for you to try to carry a child to term.
And I'm the young lady who was on previously. I'm so sorry to hear that. And sisters, when y'all go to the doctors, have them document everything. There is something called the Patient's Bill of Rights. You can easily find that online, print it out, keep it with you every single time you go to the doctor. It lets you know you are allowed to have an advocate in the room with you and exactly what can and cannot happen, what your rights are as a patient. And if you tell the doctor that you are in pain and they tell you XYZ or it's this, make sure you tell them to document that. I told you I was in pain, but you said it's this. Have them document it, and you have every right to request records of your copies of your medical records. It is your right as a patient. That's your information. The Patient's Bill of Rights is very, very, very important. And when you go into that medical office and they know that you have this printed out or you have this information, I promise you it'll go totally different. The only reason why they're allowed to do what they do is because you don't know. And they, of course, they play on your ignorance. And this is something that you can take with you and help fight for any future malpractice issues. So
yeah, when you go into a doctor's office or a hospital, you cannot trust that they have your best interests at heart. And that's a sad commentary, but where we as Black people are concerned, it's not even negligence, it's hostility. I mean, we would be upgraded if it was just negligence. We don't get negligence, we get outright hostility to us. So that's a major, major factor for us to remember when we walk in there. They do not have your best interests at heart. You are going to have to look out for your interests because they don't have that. That's not one of their priorities. That's not. Once again, when you talk about systemic racism, we keep talking about that because it's systemic. The doctors and the hospitals are not acting that way with us because they don't have backup. They're acting that way with us because they do. And they know they do. So that's why we have to be advocates for ourselves and have our paperwork together, because they're going to move against you as a system, as they always done. You're an individual, they're going to move against you as a system. And what you're talking about is having the ability to push back against that system when it does do that. But you cannot act like an individual and, oh, this individual over here going to look out for me. I wish that was the world we were in, but the whole reason we're doing what we're doing is because that's not the one we're in.
My father has he's been battling stage 4 prostate cancer for the past, I want to say it's been going on 2-3 years now, and I don't allow him to go to his doctor's appointments by himself. I asked I literally berate them with questions all day long. And some of them get an attitude, but I don't care. I want to make sure that all my questions are answered. If I get a doctor who gives me attitude, then I request another doctor. They're supposed to make sure that they answer your questions to your satisfaction.
That you
are
have
allowed
understanding of what they've told
Yes.
you.
Yes. Yes. So it's your right to have an advocate in that room with you. You are not required. You're not forced to be in there alone. And if you have someone that is more knowledgeable of the situation or the diagnosis than you do, then it is your right as a patient to have that person in there. And if they deny that, then you need to find you another doctor.
Yeah, I mean, we don't get 2 and 3 cracks to that. That's very important that we take that seriously. If you report something to a doctor that you're having a symptom of something, you need to have it documented. It's not enough to just tell them folks. You need to have it documented now. What was done after that? Okay, I reported this was the issue. What did they do to investigate it, to check into it? What happened after that? That's the part that needs to be documented. I said this was an issue, and the next thing needs to be this is what was done about it. Once they're not doing anything about it, that's the part that causes problems. That's not something that you overlook. That's not the time to be polite or keep the peace, which is what a lot of folks do. We don't want to cause trouble. No, that's actually the time to cause trouble right there. Right when that happened, yeah, that's the time to cause trouble. If you say there's a problem or a symptom, somebody's supposed to be doing a test, checking into it, looking at it. And if they don't, this is not the time to keep the peace.
And you have every right to as well to ask for an alternative option. If you say, I want to go of a more holistic approach, they're supposed to give you that option. You don't have to take exactly what they say. If there's another route of going, it's your right to ask, well, is there another route? Is there a more holistic way? Is there a more or less aggressive way? Because they always want to put aggressive treatments on you in the very beginning. So ask for an alternative. And if they say no, make sure you tell them that you've asked for an alternative and document it that they said no. Document everything and request those copies. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. This is your life here, folks. This is your life. This is your well-being. This is who you are. This is your life. Very important that you take that seriously, and you have to be vigilant about it. You have to be vigilant about it. You have to stay on top of it. And yes, you're going to have to fight over that because they have a vested interest in undermining it. You've seen all the reports. Y'all have seen everything, man. They have a vested interest in bad outcomes for black people. We need some more cadavers for the medical school. I need y'all to understand, we are the designated cadavers for the medical school. We are the designated organ donors. You better wake up, smell reality. We are the designated cadavers, the designated organ donors. All right, if this nigga will hurry up and fall over, we can get a couple more bodies here for the medical school. That's the time they're on. Let me go ahead and see if I can get back over here on Zoom. I got Mo Bull over here on Zoom. All right, Mo Bull, what's on your mind?
Hey, it's MB. What's good, big bro? Yo, man, first off, want to give my flowers and condolences to Black Voltron Unloaded, man. He was a voice, man. I've heard him a few times. I've seen him on Twitter Spaces as well, man. He's a voice that'll be missed, man. Rest in glory and power to that big brother, man. And appreciate you in this broadcast, man. It validates a lot of what we're talking about here with health, man. It's a lot of dope stuff. I've been doing my checkups. I stay in the gym. I do my cardio. Sometimes. I see how fast I can go up these steps in the art museum. I mean, yeah, it's definitely important to stay light on your feet. I definitely could say it's important to stay light on your feet, especially you don't know whatever may come up, man. And No, I don't have a whole lot to say, man. Just kind of want to give my flowers, and also appreciate you, man, for you kick our ass when we need it, man. So I keep kicking our ass when we need it, man. I appreciate you, man. You do a lot for us, man. So keep on doing what you're doing, man. And may we all live, may we all do the work to live past 80 and go for 100, man. That's all I have to say. Let my plane be one, bro.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. And by the way, folks, it's not about being a triathlete. It's not about being an Ironman. I'm talking about just staying in condition so you can just do the stuff you need to be doing around the house, man. Staying mobile so you can do the stuff you need to be doing for yourself. When it's time, right now, practically everybody in here, when it's time to go to the grocery store, you can go by yourself. Okay, how long you going to be able to do that? How long? That's not weightlifting. That's not powerlifting. That's not running a marathon. You're walking around Whole Foods. That's not a marathon. I'm talking about staying in condition so you can just keep going to the store by yourself. So you can go to the grocery store by yourself, the hardware store by yourself, the mall to buy some shoes by yourself. I'm just talking about remaining active, remaining mobile, remaining enabled, able-bodied. Just for the stuff that you consider to be mundane, routine things. Everything's routine until you get a handicap. Everything is routine till you get one of those, man. You mess up your shoulder, you mess up your elbow, all of a sudden things become difficult. It becomes a slide from there. So I'm not talking about doing some Superman, superpowered stuff. I'm just talking about having the ability to do the daily, mundane things you do every day. Walking to the kitchen, cooking for yourself, opening up a case of water. I'm talking about them kind of things. I've been at the store literally in the last year. I've had like 4 little old ladies I've had to pick up cases of water for. I mean, I didn't have to, but, I'm going to do that. But, I mean, they're little old ladies and whatnot. And they're walking around with their buggies and things like that. And then you see grandma or great grandma standing in front of this big old case of water at Walmart, and I'm like, oh boy, this will be interesting to watch. Then when you see them look around, it's like, oh, I should have moved faster. Oh, sir, could you help me with this? And y'all know me, I'm scared somebody might be recording. I don't want to be on TikTok. Look at this able-bodied black male here. He saw this little old lady. See, this is why we have to vote Republican. You see what happened right here is he saw that. No regard for anybody. So y'all know me, I'm worried that might happen. So, okay, let me get this thing on up here. And then they always want to get like the 24-pack. They don't ever get the 12-pack. They want to get the 24. You know the thing's like a quarter of a pallet of water? What? It's always that situation. It ain't never nothing sensible. This is a little old lady trying to grab a quarter of a pallet of water. It's like the big 48-pack. I'm like, ma'am, do you see the weight on this thing? I don't think either one of us is qualified to pick this up. They sitting there and the show be sitting there waiting. Oh, and one more thing. And then two of the last one, because the last one was this little old lady, little old white lady there. She's looking around and whatnot. At least she let me put it on the bottom of the cart. At least she let me put it on the bottom of the cart. She let me put hers down there. The other 3, they wanted me to lift it up all the way inside and drop it in the cart. And I'm like, how the hell you going to get this out of here? Because I'm not walking out to your car with you. But by the way, after I drop this airdrop in from the Air Force in your basket, how exactly are you going to get this out when you get to your car? Because I'm not walking with you. So have you thought this through? I'm like, okay, they'll be out there in the parking lot looking helpless and go find another sucker. So it's got me going out the door looking around. I'm like, okay, which way did Matilda go? Let me see. She's looking for a sponsor up in here. Let me make sure that the coast is clear. Let me make sure. I look down the parking lot aisleway where my truck is. I'm like, okay, I'm looking around. If she catch me, she gonna have to jump out and get me. If she catch me, she must be hiding in between them cars. And as soon as I walk by, oh, sir, there you are. No, damn it, got me again. Well, I'm out here in the parking lot running with my buggy. I'm running with my buggy like Scooby-Doo. Walk by somebody's Honda and she jump out. I'm like, damn it, she got me. Damn, she got me. I almost made it. I was almost there and she got me. Now I got to airlift this water in the back of this Honda. Oh, and then she got a spare tire back here. Damn. On top of everything else, now she got a spare tire back here. Now I got to fight with that. I got to rearrange her trunk. And she's sitting up here giving me the Kiwanis Club talk and talking about how nice it is. Man, nice don't help my wrist and my elbows. You got to sit there and play nice about it. The cameras are always rolling. You don't want to be that. Oh, you don't want to be that right there. Somebody looking, cameras is rolling, and you scared. Oh boy, I'm about to go viral on TikTok if I do what I'm thinking. If I do what I'm really thinking, I'm about to go viral on TikTok. So man, I got to play it cool. Got to play it cool. All right, drop this water up in here. Thank you. All right, it's politics. It's politics. But yeah, man, I'm talking about to stay like that. A lot of y'all had grandfathers and whatnot, and he was like that till the day he left. That's really what I'm talking about being. I'm talking about being able-bodied like that. That's what I'm really talking about. I want to be able to help little old ladies with their damn water till I move up out of here. That's what I'm trying to do. Not really a bunch. I'm not doing it so I can have a bunch of Superman stuff going on. I'm just doing it to be like, hey, am I going to still be able to do this when I'm 80 or 90? Let me get to 80 or 90, and am I still moving like I'm moving today? Can I do that? So, folks, I'm not talking about marathon Ironman stuff. I'm not talking about world's strongest man or powerlifting. I'm talking about the things you do right now when you go to the grocery store. That stuff right now you're taking for granted. I'm talking about that. Because a lot of you think about your grandmamas, think about your granddaddies. Were all of them able-bodied, or did a bunch of y'all have to go shopping for them because they couldn't get out like that? I'm talking about that right there. On top of everything else. That's something else you want to be able to teach your kids and your grandkids right there on top of everything else. When I talk about quality of life, I'm talking about that. I did not tell you all that it would be easy. I did not tell you all that it would be easy. I didn't tell you it would be simple. I never said any such thing. I did tell you all that it'll be your responsibility. If not now, later. It doesn't matter when it happens. It's going to happen. And going forward, I want you to remember what your responsibilities are. It can be difficult. It can be hard sometimes, such as life. This is our generation's time to have to deal with these things and confront these things. A bunch of folk, it used to be when we all were a whole lot younger, we used to be able to just take it for granted that all of us would be here next week for the next program. I guess that's the part that takes you, by surprise the most. It used to be you could just take it for granted. All of us will be here next weekend. We'll all be here next weekend, man. No issues. And then time starts going. The next thing you know, it's not guaranteed that all of us will be here for the next weekend. That's all the more reason to take life seriously. Take life by the horns. Pursue your dreams with everything you got. Give it all you got. Express yourself. Make the most of your life and every day in it. The people who are around you, who matter to you, this is something that I do. I've lived my life this way. I don't wait for birthdays. I don't wait for holidays. I don't wait for anniversaries. If you are on my mind and it moves me, If I'm thinking about buying a gift, baby, I can't guarantee you that I'm going to be here for your birthday, and you can't guarantee me you will either. If the spirit moves you, do it now. Do it now. Do it today. If somebody means something to you, do it now. Do it today. Don't wait for some special day and all the moon and the stars all align. The stars are aligned right now. You might not be here when that moon moves over. Do it today if they mean that much to you. Let them know now. Give it to them now. I hope you're here next year, but just in case life does what life sometimes does, folks, I don't wait. My girlfriend's friends or whatever, they'll tell you, if he's thinking it, he's going to do it right now. I'm not going to wait. I'm not waiting till your birthday. If you really mean that much to me, you'll mean that much to me then too. Here, why don't you just hold on to this and you can step back in when your birthday drop. But I can't wait for the day your mama gave birth. I can't wait for that. I'm sitting here with you today. I'm not going to take the chance that something's going to rob me of this. I'm here with you now. Let's do this now. And I ain't asking you for it. I'm moving on it. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know what I'm going to do. I am not going to take you for granted. I'm not going to take it for granted that the universe is going to play on our schedule. Just in case the universe tries something really dog dirty, I'm moving on this today. If nothing else, I hope all of you will seize, Carpe Diem, seize the day. I hope all of you at least take that part away. Don't wait. Make that move. Improve your lives. Get into shape. Take that trip. See that person. Increase your income. Make the most of it. And do it now. To our brother, Black Voltron, so much has been said here, brother, and as always, you are appreciated. Gone too soon, but you've honored us with your presence. And we are going to do everything we can in our capacity to be worthy of that and to be worthy of what you've contributed to us and meant to us. We know exactly what you would do and what you would tell us if you were here right now, so we don't have to have a bunch of coaching. We know exactly what you would do. We know exactly what you would say. All we have to do is just keep doing that. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program here. Thank you to everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program. That's very much appreciated here as well. Project Leroy, Grind Time, Vet Black, Mahako, to everyone who's been involved on tonight's program. If you're new here to the Black Channel, maybe you'll be a part of the family going forward here too. You see how we treat our own. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, check out our groundbreaking, best-selling documentary work, blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program, live or recorded. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, and sharing. Thank you, Brother Black Voltron. Thank you. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, your fellow soldier and traveler on this journey, the Black Authority. And until next time, to all of my brothers and all of my sisters from around the world, remember, eat this, drink this, sleep this, think this, breathe this, feel this, live this, love this. It is everything that we are. Black first.